Alrighty. After an extensive hiatus, we are finally back in the Sunless Sea. Now, last time we were here, we had just set up Pigmoat Isle in their tacit defense of their own independence. We thought we had a little bit more time, and so we've ended up actually, I'm pretty sure, giving it a 50-50 chance, or somewhere thereabouts, of success, and I really, really hope that Pigmoat Isle does manage to survive this time. I would feel really bad if they went down, 2, 3 captains in a row. We've also found a mysterious object between the Uttershroom and Pigmoat Isle, right in the center here, an eyeball at the bottom of the sea. I'm not sure what it's about, and maybe that's a secret boss fight, but I may end up doing that. But before we do that, we have a lot of the map still to finish, and a lot of objectives still to finish. Now, I was considering playing through this captain, getting to the end with the Zong of the Z. We'll see how far we get through that, because the Zong of the Z, if we check in our, our lodgings here, we can actually go grab a bit of recent news for that. The Zong of the Sea is a bit of a grind. We've got a whole bunch of port reports, which we will come across in passing. We have a lot of secrets, 40 secrets, though we are getting there. Unfortunately, we will be using at least 35 to make all of the following components that you can actually make in the study. Captivating, or Whispering Trophy Cases, Monstrous Almanacs, Serene Aquariums, Anatomical Cabinets, and Shrines to Stone. So we will be using 35 of that, and we also need a Dread Surmise, but we of course know that where we can get one, or in fact a few of those. But the issue is going to be these Tales of Terror Z stories and Memories of Distant Shores. We can get Tales of Terror up in Wither, I believe. I believe that you can buy and sell for Tales of Terror. So we actually have a reasonable way to go and get them from there. We don't yet know of any way to get Z stories reliably. And I think it's the same with Memories of Distant Shores. I think we have to find a way to go get those, but that is going to be a long ways away after we have everything else in here. So I'll have to go and do that. But before we do that, we should probably make sure we can get to that point without dying. Now, we did end up siding with the guinea pigs. Kinda dicks. They weren't so great. But we ended up brokering a peace between them and the rats. And so we united them, which is good, before they have to fight for their independence. Hopefully, they succeed. I really don't know whether they will. I suppose we will be passing by there just to check on them, to see if they will or won't. We also have, there he is, the Tireless Mechanic. We need to go and get his quest completed because he has a really great payoff at the end of his quest. We know that much. The Fulgent Impeller, I believe, an engine that fits into the... No, I think it's actually just an engine. It just fits into the engine slot. That will reduce fuel expenditures by 50%. Not to mention, boost our speed to, I believe, the highest speed that you can get, which is just fantastic. That is quite amazing. But, of course, to do that, we still have to go and find Polythreme, where we can get some clay men, and we will need to go and buy a mirror catch box and bring them all to Hunter's Keep, which hopefully won't go down in flames. That's the prayer there. But, of course, we have to go do some more exploring for that. And so we've probably found most of the islands. Maybe something in here regarding docking locations. We've unfortunately made ourselves a disgrace to any lighthouse ships, so we can no longer purchase fuel from them, nor can we gain a terror reduction, since we do end up just getting kicked out since we introduced a Blemigan from the Uttershroom onto a single ship. I didn't realize it would quite spiral out from there, but now we are known as Captain Mushroom for them. Not great, but it's acceptable. It's what's going to be done. So I think we're going to try to get all the way to the west edge of here. I think, as much as I would love to check on, well, you know, I think we'll head down to Pigmoat Isle first, just so we can check on them. I would love to check on them. We have yet to enter the Nefrite Quarter in the Khanate. We do still need to find a way in either through coffee or through, more preferably, Drowny Pearls once we find Dahoot, whoever that might be, and gain access to that. We did drop off our Longshanks Gunner, our starting armory officer in Khan Shadow, like she requested us to do. But we have to go find Dahoot. We have to go find Polythreme somewhere around here. I have a feeling that'll be further north than south, though I could be wrong. And then we'll keep going from there. And we've got plenty more quests to go on. Hello, I rise from the dead. Hello, hello. So let's head out and do that. I think, as far as pathing concerned, we'll head down past Mutton Island. We'll see if Mutton Island actually opens up. I believe they've actually been taken over by something, but I can't quite recall as to what. From there, we'll head over to Demuth Island, Pigmoat Isle, and probably up to Rack and Nook before we set sail into this area here. Not the most direct path, but it will at least allow us to clear some of this area. And I do believe Nook will be our refueling stop. Could keep going to the salt lines, but I think we'll do that on the way back, and we'll bring that over to Fallen London for a little bit of profit. Okay, so let's get that done. How are our food and fuel stores? Adequate. At best, I think. We will probably not run across any places where supplies are as cheap as Fallen London. In fact, I'm almost sure that we won't. As cheap or cheaper. So we'll go and fill that up a little bit. And I think 12 fuel should get us all the way to Rack. Remember me? You are one of my loyal viewers. We'll also bring a flare along, just in case we get stranded somewhere due to our lack of fuel. Crew requirements set and met. Fuel and supplies topped off to safe-ish amounts. I think we are good to get going. Double check port reports and everything. Yep, we're all good. Let's depart. So, down to Mutton Island we shall go. I'm really hoping that Pigmoat Isle manages to fight off the possibly combined, possibly separate threats of Visage and, I believe, the Isle of Cats. Because I do believe those were the two representatives of the islands that actually showed up to Pigmoat Isle. And hopefully they will end up taking care of themselves. Now, Quaker's Haven may or may not still be here. Ah, right, and they're under new management. Fires on the hillside. Sleek ships are docked at the harbor. Installations of heavy artillery line the shore. The banners of the Eagle clan, yellow as honey, drape from each roof. Mutton Island has fallen. And, right, we can go and smuggle refugees here. We'll go sneakily try to grab a port report. We've got about a 70% chance of doing that. So let's lower the lifeboat, row to one of the less slippery, less sheer cliffs. Pray you don't get caught. And we have a success. Enemy movements, you scale the cliff and crouch in the mud. Through a spyglass, you observe soldiers' movements. A contingent approaches the charred remains of the Cock and Magpie, escorting ragged islanders. A woman in feathered epaulettes sits at a table within, smiling at the Z charts and scowling at decrees stamped by the Leopard clan. Once inside, islanders fall to their knees before her. Their proud faces strain as they address her. Right, it is the Khanate that's actually taken over Quaker's Haven this time. So let's see if we can get refugees out. We have a higher chance here, but that doesn't necessarily amount to anything. Let's go and give them a shot. Smuggle refugees to the Shepherd Isles. As your vessel passes, muddy islanders emerge from one of the island's coves. They leap and wave rags. Let's lead a rescue attempt. Success. Safer ground. Your lifeboat pulls up to the cove unnoticed by the sentries. Came while we were asleep, they did, an islander whispers. Some of us managed to make it to the docks, or else to the coves. A couple of the lads held out in the Cock and Magpie as long as they could. He runs a grimy hand through his hair and boards. So we've gained some more refugees here. And I think this is actually the last shipment of them. I think it is up to 3 that we can go and get. This may be the last shipment we are ever able to make to the Shepherd Isles, which is up here. So we may need to backtrack a little bit if we're going east. But I think we still head to Pigmoat Isle as directly as possible here. Let's give that a shot. Fuel is going down a little bit more quickly than I had recalled. More Sunless Sea, is this still the first air? It is indeed. It has been a long time since we've actually played through it, and definitely not on schedule, but the schedule kind of doesn't exist anymore. We've got a very large angler crab, but we may be able to outsail it. We're still trying to find out if Aestival, A, exists, and B, exists as a kingdom. From our father, I guess. We haven't yet found it. But at the moment, I am much more interested in the plight of Pigmoat Isle. Hopefully, God, hopefully, they manage to take care of themselves. And, of course, we found a fog bank, which means our lights are useless. Luckily, we'll pull into this lovely little light beam. And out of the fog, actually. Fantastic. I very much hope we can manage to find polythreme up here somewhere. Because I would love to get that fulgent impeller just to make traversing a lot quicker. Much, much, much quicker. Because we are really feeling the speed right now compared to how that fulgent impeller was. I got a Gillifleur tracking us. Is he going to bother with us? He's thinking about it. I think we sailed far enough away that he... Oh, no, he's still trying to come for us. Gonna be a little short, though. And we will make it, hopefully, to Pigmoat Isle, which will still be alive. Can't tell if you can determine that on the map, but we shall see. Yes! Okay. The triumph of Pigmoat Isle. Pigmoat is bloodied, but victorious. Their victory over the invaders has united rats and cavies. King Gracenaw and the chief engineer greet the returning ambassadors, here to end hostilities with a non-aggression pact. The Visage ambassador is the first to sign, her feelings hidden by her mask. The Fathom King man merely sucks his thumb and presses it to the vellum, leaving an inky fingerprint. A new start. Fireworks light the roof of the Neath. Happy squeaks raise an anticipation of the future. Thank goodness. Gratitude. The celebration lasts 3 days. Afterward, bloated with meat and ale, you are summoned to the ruling council. King Gracenaw and the First Minister Edgar tend their new court together. First Minister Edgar is actually, I believe, the rat you could have taken aboard your ship. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm fairly sure that that was the rat you could have taken aboard your ship if you had sided with the rats. And regardless, it ended up all right, which is fantastic. That is really great. Hairless Advisor, 1,000 gratitudes, declares King Gracenod, raising a paw. A chorus of rats begin chanting, thank you. You do not keep count, but it seems they intend to go the full distance. The First Minister's gratitude is less symbolic. He gestures and a cart pulled by both a rat and a cavy wheels in Pigmoat's treasure. The Rat Star, the Lady's Eye, the Thalassine. Goodness only knows how many other names this glowing scintillic might have. From now we light our own path, says the First Minister. Take it. He rubs his head wearily. Bloody things caused us nothing but trouble anyway. With your reward in hand, the Z beckons once again. Perhaps one day it will lead to your own kingdom. If so, this experience will certainly be valuable. We are no longer hungry. We have united Cavia, Pigmoat Isle, mastery. 2 houses, alike in dignity, not that this is saying much, mind. It's saying quite a bit. They have lots of dignity. And we now have a lump of blue scintillic, which is great. Pigmoat Isle continues to exist. We have some vital intelligence. We are done on Pigmoat Isle. The rise of Pigmoat Isle. Hail, united Cavia. The Neath's most adorable nation scurries around your legs. Scintillic harvesters drag heavy bags of the island's bounty to their silos. Industrious rodents work hard on towering edifices, some of them almost neck-high. London will never believe a bloody word of this. Let's go grab a port report so that the Admiralty can laugh at us. And we can get Echo, or buy Scintillic for relatively cheap Echo. It's not the cheapest, I think, but still a nice little thing to have. And evidently when we come back, we can occasionally show up to banquets, which is not half bad. Do we have shops available now? No, sadly no shops. Still, fantastic, fantastic results. So Pigmoat Isle has indeed survived, which I was very worried about, and which we no longer have to worry about. But now, we shall go back to the Shepherd Isles, drop off those refugees we picked up, and head over to Nook, hopefully with enough fuel. How is our fuel actually doing? We have 7 barrels and 9 bits of supply. So I think we may be able to get there. We started out with 12 to get from Fallen London to here with a stop off at Mutton Island. I think we can make it all the way across with 7. Maybe. Maybe we stop off at Khan's Shadow to get it at the slightly increased prices, but also, enough to keep us around. And it looks like there's even... no, that's Wisdom. A dock up there. But we have already been to that. I think we'll risk it and we'll just burn some food. And we'll travel very sparingly with our lights on. We will hold to the shores. We've got plenty of terror to spare. Hopefully if we hold to the shores and light beams, just use the ship's lamps only when we are really out in the middle of the sea. Hopefully we will make it. We found a maelstrom and a, unfortunately, large crab. I will turn the lights on here just because we are in the middle of the sea, but hopefully that crab will ignore us, and he will. So we have passage to the Labyrinth of Eels, which we still... I would really love some lore on this, because I think I've mentioned before, it's such a big, obvious thing, this, Labyrinth, and the name similarly. But with this, with Crab Cake, I believe, as well, the big kind of crab shell-looking island. As far as I can tell, there's just no lore on the things. I don't know. It's very confusing. It seems like such a big misstep that I would really expect there to be something there, but there just isn't. That said, maybe there's something in Fallen London, the web browsing game. I've heard that actually fills in a lot more about the world But unfortunately, it is one of those Facebook idle style games where you have to wait a long time to be able to do anything. And quite frankly, I really could not. I tried getting into it before I played Sunless Sea, actually. I had heard that it would be a good basis to start this off. But I just could not bear having to wait. You can basically only do something every hour if you're patient and you get lucky if you want to do a single thing. But if you want to make any significant progress, you've got to wait a long time. And I just could not stand the waiting. I am definitely a play a couple hours at a time kind of gamer, and that just did not appeal to me. But that said, we have made it to Fieldhaven, which is the Shepherd Isles. We will go and deliver the refugees here. It may not be home, but it will do for now. An unwanted beginning. The refugees timidly step from your deck. It will have to do, one of them says. We will manage, another replies. One of them shakes your hand. Bless you for the good deed, Captain. May you never go hungry. It's an old Mutton Island saying. So we gained 100 echo for that. And we will also gain a port report, which is going to be rather confusing. And if we wanted, we could also gain a Sooth and Cooper Longbox for a hunting trophy, but we only have the one, so we may stay on that for now. We'll keep that in our inventory, especially as it doesn't take up any room. Shall we use up our something awaits us, perhaps? I think we've heard all of that. The three graves, of course, were the hunters who were disgraced and so were buried here instead of with honors by the Chelonit. The standing stones were stones that were apparently planted and grew to size, planted at the size of beans and growing to real big stones. And Thornwell Croft, I actually can't remember that one. Well, let's see what they have to say about it. What about that isle to the north, the one that isn't bridged? That old devil called Light. We did have a bridge, but the ship of lights came through here once. Hull of shining brass, lamps like stars, all those damned on deck at once. Couldn't tell if they were laughing or screaming, plowed through the bridge and kept on going. Everyone who tries to rebuild it bursts into flames, so we don't try to rebuild it anymore. Ah, so we do actually know something about that. That is referring to the Dawn Machine cultists. They are the ones with the, I think they're called Brilliant ships. Brilliant dreadnoughts and, frigates, all that sort of thing. So evidently they burst through here at some point and broke down the bridge. Very interesting. We got a Z story from it and a few fragments as well. We could buy a bit of fuel. I may actually, well, let's check the distance here. I'll buy one. I will buy one fuel just to ensure that we actually make it over to Nook. I don't think it should be too terrible of a journey, but we will probably have to travel with our lights on for a lot of it. And, that's just a steam pirate pinnace, which means we should be able to blast this guy pretty quickly. And we do actually have the Scintillic now to aid us on our way. Let's see what we'll get off of her. Ah, some parabola linen. Not the best, but also pretty okay. Not too shabby either. And we'll keep on our way to Nook and Rack. Now, I can't actually remember. Whoops. I did not mean to submerge that early. I actually meant to check our rack quality. I suppose we do have to submerge since both of those locations are, in fact, underwater. We check our journal here. I don't remember if Rack has already given us an objective to go and lure over. Delivered the jar of tether. Yeah, no, I think we need to go back there and see what the other rackers want us to send over, who they want us to send over, and from what location. Of course, we have a fair distance to go before we can get there. Okay, so it looks like this is oxygen. Don't really need that too terribly. And brain sort of looking coral reef to our now west. But there will be rack. We'll make it over there with 2 fuel barrels remaining. So rack will at least serve that much. Nook is a little ways over. Shouldn't be that far, but it may be far enough to actually drain us of those 2 barrels. So it's a good thing we got that extra. We'll go grab a port report. Ah, right. We should have bought a Scintilic from Pigmote Isle. I forgot that in order to wreck, we actually have to make an acquaintance with the king, which we have not done yet because we haven't had the Scintilic to do it yet. Because we keep forgetting to go and get one from Pigmote Isle. Okay. So we'll go and grab that at a later date. Make sure to bring it over, and hopefully we will make it back in order to go and do that and increase the state of the city here. Supplies are not doing great, but they're not doing terribly either. Yeah, so fuel is pretty expensive here still. Supplies even more so, since that is what they are low on. But hopefully we will be able to alleviate that situation a little bit in the near to mid future. And just across there is Nook. Won't end up draining our last barrel, but it will be very close. There we go. We are at our last remaining barrel in reserve. But we have made it to Nook, which means we have access to their lovely, lovely fuel prices. Just about Fallen London levels. Echo more, but that should be able to sate us for a while. And I think I'll actually buy that much of that. Supplies are equal to Fallen London. So that would probably be worthwhile to pick up, right? I think so. Probably up to... I was going to say 10, but 11 will also do the trick. And we should have a... Ooh, hold on a minute. We have a cask of mushroom wine to get down into Nook. That said, we actually have a taste of freedom at 10. And we do not know yet where Eigel is, I'm pretty sure. I think it'll probably be somewhere in this quadrant, but without knowing that, we can't actually reduce our taste of freedoms, which may mean that we have issues leaving Nook. Perhaps that we can't even leave Nook at all. So I'm actually going to avoid going into Nook. Well, luckily we can take advantage of the shops without going in, but we'll go and surface here instead. We'll just head out and surface. I probably should have turned off the lights before I actually did this, but... keep heading out into the undiscovered areas of the map here. So let's go and move. We should be sending out Z-Bats, because they will be able to mark any possible docking locations above or below. Nuncio is to the northeast. That's not too bad. There is the 1, the Finknottle Vortex, and 2, the Rat Ship that always sails into the dang thing whenever we pass by Nuncio. But that'll give access to the island up here. We'll at least grab the port report. We probably won't spend too much time there. Maybe just talk around, but we do know what ends up happening here, since we have done that before. Do not return to sender. Taciturn functionaries walk the docks in uniforms of postmen. An enormous crowned statue casts a chilling shadow. The shadows gleam with rats' eyes. Their ceaseless chittering rolls like the tide. Let's go grab a port report right now. You may not be very familiar with the locals yet, but you can provide a preliminary overview. Surface details. There's the statue in the middle of the island. That's hard to miss. There's a way everyone wears a uniform and the way they call each other by their ranks in the postal service. There's the way the port authorities refer to regulations. There's the jargon, the curious habit of referring to any used up thing as cancelled, as though the whole world were made up of stamps. You write about vestigial bureaucracy and about the trappings of order retained far from home. And we'll go grab the port report for that. And then to the Postman's Tavern, the Inky Blotter, it's called. The sign doesn't look like much. It's warmer inside than it looks. Faces turn in your direction, but no one seems surprised to have a new arrival on the island. Lit by two roaring fires, one at either end of the room, the bartender is in a postman's uniform, like almost all of the patrons. The noseless postal inspector, called Blunt Thomas, delivers the drinks, clears tables, and stacks the firewood. We won't allow the Cladary heir to offer her services yet. We are not really acquainted with her in the slightest. We've actually talked to her father, or who so claims to be her father. But since we don't know her all that well, we haven't bothered to interact with her all that much. We won't quite let her do her thing. We'll probably save that for later, just so we know where exactly we can go to do some surgeries. We can listen in on some postal tall tales, though. Fishermen brag about the fish that got away. Postmen brag about hard deliveries. Amazing what you get for a penny stamp. Delicate bottles lowered down chimneys on a rope. Do not fold under any circumstance letters curled through a narrow slot. Rattling, groaning crates brought back to the same address every day for 22 days running. The windows they pried open, the servants they bribed, the delivery surcharges they paid out of their own salaries just to get rid of one more packet. It is hard to tell which they hate more, the senders of the mail or the recipients. It stands to reason if the message was a welcome one, they'd tell the other fellow in person, reflects the hairless postwoman. And, let's go ask about the currency. Ask why the local currency consists of rats, 2 strings of rats for a pint of ale, 3 strings for wine, 5 for the tolerable brandy under the bar. Scarcity is not an issue. The hairless postwoman at the end of the bar smiles mirthlessly. Or maybe it's just the lack of eyebrows that does it. Long enough carrying the things around, you get into the habit, she says. Then she tells you that if you stay out late enough, you'll see some of the postmen making a procession to the center of the island, stringing up rats around the statuette like Yuletide decorations in prayer to an ancient deity of this place. From the coughing and choking elsewhere in the pub, you'd guess this is a story they often tell to newcomers. We've cultivated a few friendships with the postman now. And last but not least, no, we are not going to ask the hairless postwoman why she is hairless. That is a big no-no. Let's go ask about that big statue in the center of the island. If there were a guidebook for visitors, it would have to be the first entry. The Monumental Postman. Oh, that. It's all of us, isn't it? Sort of the spirit of the island. Most of them don't seem troubled for more of an explanation than that. Though the hairless postwoman tells you it didn't always used to look like a fallen London postman at all. That it used to have a different face and a more old-fashioned outfit. So the statue has changed over time, and we are now at friendship level 3 as a newcomer. Let's ask, how could they possibly occupy themselves all day long? There must be more than this, and of course there is. The Dead Letter Office. Big building, center of town, hard to miss. You can work there too if you want. It's not clear whether this is a generous offer or a threat. We have been accepted by the locals. But we won't borrow a uniform. Not quite yet. Let's head back to the docks. Leave the warmth of the blotter now, and let's go check out the beach, actually. There's a long stretch of shale, dotted with washed-up kegs and barrels and smaller flotsam. Shifty going, the rocks slip and slither underfoot, but you will keep your balance. Every lap of the wave brings up some new letter or parcel. The face of the water is dotted with them, as far as you can see in this blackness, carried by a powerful current. So we could grab some material for the Dead Letter's office. We can argue with a man holding the broom or assist him. He seems to be shoving letters back into the sea quite determinedly, and the sea keeps shoving them back. Or we can rescue a dripping parcel. Dripping with seawater, probably. Let's do that one since that is the only something awaits you option there. Drowning pearls, dozens of them, and an explanation of how they were harvested that turns the hair. The divers lost among the deep coral, the beasts that have to be fought off during harvesting, the growing terror aboard ship. All that has been done was done according to your lordship's will, concludes the letter writer. In anger and pride, in unquestioning submission. Impossible to say. So we've gained 10 fragments, a little bit of terror. We gained 5 terror and 20 drowning pearls. That is actually pretty nice. In fact, I believe that's actually enough to gain us... maybe not quite. But I think it might be enough to gain us access to the Nefrite Quarter via the Tiaman. I think we might be a little short. I think it might be 5 instead of the 4 that we have here, so we would be too short. But we may or may not have access to that now. We'll have to go and determine that at a later date. But I think we'll be finished here. I don't think we'll interact with the man holding the broom. We'll save that for later once we actually have a little bit more background knowledge of Nuncio, assuming we ever do come back here to find some more background knowledge. For now, we will continue heading out to Z, continuing to search for polythreme, preferably. Polythreme, Aestival, anything up here that we have not yet discovered. But there are no islands. Ooh, Dahoot is nearby. Maybe. I'm pretty sure that's what the faces at the bottom of the Z mean. That might actually just be a local... Nope, this is near Polythreme, apparently. Dahoot was near Polythreme last time, so maybe this is an indication of Polythreme rather than Dahoot. That is actually pretty fantastic, though. We'll avoid this... well, we tried to avoid this ship. Discovered Dow's 8. What? Okay, I guess that is something regarding the edge of Polythreme? I'm not exactly sure what Dow's 8 is. Something down here. Okay. We have discovered Polythreme, though. Along with Obey, Commingle, those are just locations on Polythreme. So that's not too bad. We are being pursued by unfinished pirates. That said, they are pretty far behind us, and we should be able to dock long before they get into range to deal with us. And in fact, we will. So, Polythreme, taciturn claymen, evasive clothes colonies walking like humans, cobbles that groan underfoot, on the hills above the palace villa of marble. But even that rides like buried bones in an earthquake. We can ask about the House of the Keel for the unsettled salvager. Right, we had a passenger that actually wished to go to Polythreme. I totally forgot about that. That was actually our first passenger, the first passenger we picked up way at the start of this captain, who wished to go here. Ask about the House of the Keel. The ancient captain in Venderbite said this would advance her search for Lady Black. She does wish to meet Lady Black here. When flesh carved stone. The claymen profess ignorance. The benches wail too much to be sensible. But there is an ancient, long-winded harbor wall that remembers. The House of the Keel made exiles of themselves, it said in deep, crotchety tones. They boarded their ships and they took to sea. Then, far from land, they took axes to their ships, sank them, and followed them, man, woman, child, into the depths. In abysses, they built their fathomless churches and resumed their worship of Lady Black, spirit of the deeps. The unsettled salvager holds onto your arm for support as you walk back to your ship. I need to dive again, she whispers. Grant me a suit, please, Captain. You do have one in your possession. You could allow it next time you set sail. She knows what she must do. We must dive. But before that, we must do other things in Polythreme. Now we are clay here. It actually equips to auxiliary, but I don't believe we currently have that. Oh, no, we do. Okay. So we can actually reduce our crew requirements for our ship. I think I will pick that up. It is pretty cheap, and it will be relatively useful. So we've actually got an excess of sailors now to crew this ship. Gets a little bit less useful the more you... the larger of a ship you have and the more crew are required to crew it. I'm not exactly sure how the math works out, but I think it just patently removes 3 off the top in terms of sailor capacity, and probably an equal amount off of the crew requirements to keep the ship running at full speed. But I am not entirely sure how exactly that works. I think it is of diminishing returns, though. But it will also give us a little bit more iron and some engine power, which is much appreciated. Other than that, though, we'll go grab the port report, some intelligence, what news from Polythreme. What lives? The king with 100 hearts rules from his palace above the city. He is never seen. He makes no treaties with other lands. But there's unrest in the air. The clay men you speak to are obedient and humble, but they speak nervously of those who are not. The maimed, the rebellious, the unfinished. And of course, we know those are unfinished claymen who are a bit of a hassle to deal with. But we can now carry some claymen to London. Now, we do have to have 6 units of cargo space to hold them in. We should have that much. And we are actually pretty well stocked when it comes to fuel and supplies. So we should be okay regarding anything else we pick up. I think we will actually go and take those right about now, especially since we do have to do that for the tireless mechanic here. So let's go carry some claymen to London. Are they passengers or cargo? They're certainly the easiest passengers imaginable, unless, just unless, one turns out to be an unfinished man. They troop aboard. Each one lies down in its designated, appointed position next to the other, nestled snugly, there we go, head by foot. We are for London, one explains to you. And so we have a delivery of passengers to now do. We could reduce some terror, but it's very expensive, and I bet it would only reduce once, so we'll probably not do that. And we will be finished in Polythreme now. Dow's 8 is down here. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I might go check that out. It looks like it's by Port Cecil. Maybe it's just a landmark, but I'm really not sure. If it is, we can keep on trekking around here. I think I'll actually turn up north, come by... Ooh, I guess we can't really pick up anything from the salt lines, can we? We'll just clear some of this darkened area up north. If it is a dock, which I am starting to doubt that it is, then we will ignore that. We'll still truck up north, effectively. Yeah, I think that's the best option. So let's do that. Permission to dive. The Unsettled Salvager has requested a diving suit so that she may descend and find Lady Black, a spirit understood to dwell in the abyssal depths. You could grant her permission in a diving suit and allow her to throw herself into that blackest black, or perhaps you could bring her back to London and commit her to the Royal Bethlehem Hotel, which is probably an insane asylum. This is a bit of a decision to make. Effectively, we can condemn her, as far as we know, to the depths, which she has very much intended to surrender herself to. Maybe that's the best option. Or maybe she needs to be interred. But I think, considering the state of Victorian asylums at this time, that would probably be akin to torture. I think we'll give her permission for the unsettled... give our permission for the Unsettled Salvager to dive. It is what she wants. I hope you find whatever you're searching for. The Lady in Black. To rise no more. You help the Salvager don the heavy diving suit. The two of you are alone on deck. Your crew has refused to be present. Once dressed, the Salvager clanks over to the gap in the railing. She stares down into the black before turning to you. She holds her hand over her heart and leaps backwards off the deck. An apocyanic spray bursts from the calm sea. Exactly 21 minutes later, the line goes taut. You draw up the line, but there is no one in the suit you draw up, only ancient axes and adzes, discolored by salt, tied to the suit with strands of kelp. Well, we've gained 5 outlandish artifacts, but the Unsettled Salvager has finished her quest to find the Lady in Black. And therefore, we have finished our quest to assist her. Maybe the right decision, maybe not, but we know that the Lady in Black probably exists. We know that the cathedrals, at the very least, exist, because we have dove into the abyss before with our previous captain. I'm going to say we know from stories that our father has told, probably. That is how I'm going to equate it logically within the realm of the game. Ah, yes, Dowsade is just a bit of Port Coral, or Port Cecil. There we go. The principles of Coral. We do at least get the very, very nice music from that location, but we will start to, well, will we start to turn back? Will we continue going upwards to Irem? It's a bit distant, especially with our current transport speed and fuel costs. I think we'll head north a little bit. And over there, the Tides of Appetite. Not exactly sure what that means. Godfall is some distance to the northwest. Sure, we'll go and mark that. Might as well check on them. But we will go visit Eildhaven and see what the combat monks who have somehow gotten themselves to continue past the initial monk here, which they are very vague about. We'll go give them a visit. Godfall. Sometimes, just occasionally, bits of the roof fall off. Be glad you weren't here when this one did. We will enter Godfall. The brawling, bearded men who live here call themselves monks. They pay lip service to Saint Stalactite, which fell from the roof. But their chief interests seem to be wine, blood, and shouting. Let's listen to the shouting. We'll grab a port report. Let them tell you about past and present events in the monastery. Tales. They're eager to talk about their history. The stalactite, they assure you, was one of the citadels of the starved men who dwell in the roof. When it fell, a few of its occupants survived to become the monks' progenitors. How does that work, you wonder, with their vow of celibacy? They become vague and are suddenly eager to speak of the details of passing ships. As mentioned, they are kind of confusingly attached to that. But we can't explore this shattered citadel. They don't have any shops to speak of, and we will not be trading our single hunting trophy, obviously, to them at the moment. So we will probably just head out from here, keep going north and westwards. Yep, we already know that Godfall is there. Hold on, did it not discover Godfall? Hold on, just a... There we go. Okay, I guess we doubled the edge of that without actually looking at it with our lights on. Kind of odd, but you know, things happen. No islands. That's somewhat to be expected. We will keep checking out here, though. We can go and sail through the beacon of light to make sure. Rat barge is here. Is that actually hostile to us? I have no idea. I thought it might not be. It seems like it is, but I thought it might not be because of the fact that we actually saved Pigmote Isle. The Kissigar Vortex. I don't think we've ever seen this before. The Kissigar Vortex. Really? I guess we are by Chapel of Lights. Okay. We're by that, but I thought that was by the edge of the world, the northern gates of the world. Huh. Interesting. We have found the Chapel of Lights, though, all the way up here. Do you hear music? Furtive, faithful gather in the shadows between the many, many candles. A bell tolls in the chapel tower, cracked iron laughter. Beware, the aisle is full of voices. And we could eat some food. We will not, considering it can occasionally give us a certain peckishness. But we'll gather some intelligence at the very least. What occurs here between the darkness and the light? A smiling priest in a red cassock tends the chapel. The congregation are shy of light. They come and go in little ships, and it's strangely difficult to count them. Perhaps some of them are imaginary. Still, you note the name of a ship or two, and now we have a port report. No shops here to speak of, and not too much else here to do. So we will probably set off from here. Head out to the sea at large. Probably southwards. Oh, goodness. Oh, that is Mount Nomad. Yeah. Ooh, okay. That is not something that I want to tangle with. That said, she, I believe, is actually between us and Avid Horizon. We'll see if we can get around her. We know it's a she because we had, in our previous playthrough, murdered her as a part of our quest to find our father's bones from the Fathom King. And that, in doing that, he mentioned that she is actually his niece. We have also approached Avid Horizon here, with all of its runes and mysteries, and its starlit waters, along with the gigantic, massive gates that block off access to the north. Avid Horizon, this is the end. Two vast winged shapes guard a gate of something like resin, smooth but uneven. It is deep gant, the color that remains when all other colors have been eaten. Ice crusts over the crack between its valves. Approach, and your breath freezes, falls tinkling in shards from the air. It would be utterly foolish to touch the thing. A merciless wind blows from everywhere to everywhere. It passes without effort through your bridge coat, your flesh, your lungs. The dock lies empty. And we could possibly open the high gate. I don't actually know if we've ever seen that one before. Complete a certain matter in London to achieve this. Maybe that is Mr. Sachs. But we'll gather intelligence, such as there is to gather out here where nothing moves. That'll get us a port report. But of course, nothing moves. This stillness is itself of interest to the Admiralty. It is not impossible someone foolish might attempt to open the gate. It is not inconceivable that it might open from the other side. And what then? Your journey here may attract the attention of a certain crimson patron. Return your port report to the Admiralty in London to unlock a new story. And that will be, of course, Mr. Sachs. And we could look into the stars. Stars float in the mirrored night of the waves. Watch them a while. Or we can listen to a story we have heard. The ice by the gate's edge. There was a whisper about a hunting quest and the final revenge. Behind the ice. Yes, this is what the rumors meant. A hunter frozen with in the ice, hands contorted to claws, mouth agape. With her left hand, she had plucked her own eye from the socket. It lies very close to the surface of the ice. If the stories are true, there's a dark virtue in that eye. Take it then. But perhaps you should put it in a jar. We have a hunter's eye, and we've actually lost some fragments here. Eat the flesh of the deep lurkers, and your eyes will change. You know, have we ever actually attempted that? It doesn't look like we can. That said, I am not quite so certain that I would want to. Last but not least, do we look into the stars? We have to have less than 75 terror. We have 27. Maybe that means it'll give us 25 terror? But I don't know what else it'll give us. I can't quite recall. So I think we will risk it and look into the stars. Stars float in the mirrored night of the waves. Watch them a while. Peace beneath the world. These are real stars. They burn above the roof of the neath, beyond the earth, in the spaces of heaven. Even so far away, even now, their eyes are on you. But here in the night under the world, you are safe. Safe. You return to your senses, gasping. Your hands are cold, numb. How long were you watching the stars? Gained 10 terror and a single fragment. I can see why I would forget that. Maybe if you do that multiple times, something else happens, but I probably won't risk it. I think we'll head here. Out of here. Well, I don't even know to where. Could head to the Undercrow. Guiders more and Salt Lions. I could just head straight down to Nook, because we are running out of fuel here. Or we could try a different path. We've got 9 fuel barrels and a full tank right now. Could we get to Fallen London with that amount? From here to Pigmote, it took about 6? 5, 6? I think we could do it, which means we may or may not have enough room to make it to the salt lines and grab their cargo as well. Let's do that. We will travel with the light here. We'll try to use as little fuel as possible. Our cargo hold is not quite empty enough, but maybe by the time we get to the salt lines it will be, to fill up 20 spaces. Salt line is a rather distant trek south, so see how much we eat up here before we get there. Wow, Mount Nomad really comes close to the Chapel of Lights. Like, she was right off of the edge there. That was kind of nuts. Travel with our lights on. Keep sending out Z-Bats just so we can uncover whatever happens to lie around us. Nothing so much, it seems. But a strange sight to behold. Okay, we found a single unit of map here, but not any of the other blackness that we traveled through. Very odd. Looks like there's a fog bank to our southeast, which we will avoid. Yeah, there's a whole lot of nothing between that area and the salt lines, it seems. A Gillifleur haunting Wilbert's Abyss, it seems. But we should be able to take it on. I'm actually going to go do that. With a quick boost from our blue Scintilic. We'll go scoop it up to grab... Oh, it's a strange catch, actually. A spreading stain, it's gone. You were left with gooey gloves and a buttery smell. Interesting. I kind of thought we would get a bit of food for it. That's not too bad. And this purple thing, is it an egg? A heart? A less fortunate traveler dissolved and shriveled to mauve ruin. Put it somewhere safe. And yet we now have a strange catch. Interesting. Unfortunately, that has taken up a little bit more hold space now, hasn't it? Not quite so sure. Not quite so certain about that. But we are 2 hold spaces short, which means we have time to burn. Do we take on a frigate? We could. Well, we could try. No, because that would result in, yeah, that would result in, ooh, 1, us taking damage like that, and 2, us collecting more supplies. So we'll go flick off our lights here, trade some terror for the cover of darkness. And we'll head beyond to the docks here. Okay, looks like he's disappeared off of us. Maybe now we will have room, perhaps? 21. Okay, once this fuel barrel burns away, we will have room. And I hope that, there we go. Fallen London will be reachable within 4 fuel barrels. 5, technically, because we have the full 5th. But we'll go compile a port report, time, basalt, and disillusion. Notes for the Admiralty: record the activities of the Unmakers, such as they are Rite of Stone and Silence. Not a whole lot here, and we will go grab some Sphinx Stone. Well, let's go visit the Unmakers first. Lose 5 terror, grab some tea cakes, and gain a fragment, and we will carry some Sphinx Stone to London. If the stones weep, an Unmaker advises you ignore them unless they flood your hold, of course. Then you should probably drop them overboard Don't tell anyone I said that. We've lost 200 Echo, but we have gained the 20 Sphinx Stone, which we can trade for more. And unfortunately, it does look to be a bit of fog in our way. But that does mean that we can travel with our lights off without too much of a detriment, because they wouldn't make any difference anyway. And we can and probably should stop off at Hunter's Keep, which is actually not very far south of us, so we can actually head pretty much straight across. Maybe a little southwards to get there. We'll make it to the other side here. Guider's Morn is above us, but we have no particular interest for that. Got another frigate ahead of us. We could attempt to take on, but which I, again, don't have very much interest in doing, since we barely have any cargo space. Something Awaits Us has returned. The pirate frigate has noticed us, but may not be able to corner fast enough to do anything with that information. We'll flick off our lights here as we travel through the beacons. How are we doing? Still just about en route for Hunter's Keep. For these sisters. Oh, we've been spotted by something. Perhaps not. It might have been that frigate behind us. Fuel is a concern, but I think we should be alright to make it to Fallen London. Especially if we are very conservative with our lamp usage. So as soon as we get in range of an island or something, we will go and flick that off, so we gain a normal rate at a much slower price. Hunter's Keep is quiet, and we can have a luncheon. We'll go grab the port report to know that everything is fine and that nothing has changed. And let's have luncheon with Lucy. I think we're interested in something that is sunny and restless and prone to the giggles. I think we're feeling that. Our terror is a little too high, so we'll go and do that. Lucy, the middle sister, is sunny, restless, and prone to giggles. A daft tale. Lucy leans over and whispers to you confidentially. A complex story about a butler, a pig, and an inheritance. You don't follow all the details of the plot, but somehow the pig ends up in an attic and the butler in a vicar's bed. Candles flicker, dishes enter and leave, the wind butts gently at the window panes. By the time the plum pudding arrives, you're cheerful as you've been in months. We've lost 10 terror, very lovely. We're acquainted, but something has changed. That is presumably important. I wonder if that indicates what I think it indicates, which could be quite unfortunate. But we've lost also our hunger and gained a memory of distant shores, along with Stone's attention. And unfortunately, we did forget to get an empty mirror catch box. But we'll do that at a later date, I think. And we'll keep that lamp off as we approach London here. I think we'll probably eat into our last barrel. Maybe? Well, you know, London's not even that far. Maybe we won't. I think we may be able to dock in London without dropping a single step here. Yeah, I think we'll be able to save one barrel. Not too bad. But we will make it back to the Wolfstack docks and Fallen London. Unfortunately, without a Something Awaits Us, so we don't get the terror. Actually, we don't get a terror reduction anyway, since we're not over 50. But we have made it back here, and that means we can deliver the Sphinx Stone. Ooh, I would like to keep the Claymen, though, actually, which is unfortunate. We'll do a quick run to grab a mirror catch box, I think, and get our Tireless Mechanic quest sorted out. This is where they wanted to be, or at least where they're supposed to be. But sadly, they will not be here. Let's deliver the Sphinx Stone instead. Special constables, black uniforms, distinctive caps, the badge of the Ministry of Public Decency. Wait, with a cart? Please take that off my hands. for 500 echo, and a little bit of terror reduced as well. Any more new recruit officers? Seems not. Roser's Wharf, seeking an outlandish artifact. I think I enjoy having them, honestly. More than that. Let's go... Yeah, outlandish artifacts don't take up any cargo space, so we're pretty good there. Let's go deliver our port reports. And what is the day-to-day like on those farther shores? Well, let me tell you. Hunter's Keep is still doing well. Godfall is interesting. Pirate monks. I honestly have no idea what we're supposed to do about pirate monks. What are they up to? Not a whole lot, but they will give us some Admiralty's favor and 30 echo, along with some fuel for the trouble. Shepherd's Isle, a place of very interesting stories and tales. Nuncio. Ah, yes, the place that lures away postmen. One hears no end of complaints from the postal service. Gain 30 echo, some fuel, and an Admiralty's favor for that. Pigmote Isle exists, and they'll go and giggle at it, I'm very sure. The Chapel of Lights. There's something about the Untersee that breeds heresy and dissent. I rather think we might need to send the Bishop of Southwark out for a good bit of Christian shouting. Isn't... Hold on a second. Christian shouting. Isn't Britain... When did that Britain succession work? Surely that was before the Victorian era. Where it is... oh, there's a different church in Britain because of that. Which, as far as I understand, is the same church as the Christian/Catholic church, but slightly different. Is that Protestantism? Maybe something else. I'm pretty sure there was a different church, though, by this time. Maybe in the Fallen London universe that just never happened. I don't recall exactly what the time date is there. But we will go submit that for 20 echo, a bit of fuel. Another favor, Avid Horizon. I hope you intend to tell me that everything is quiet there. Very, very quiet. Ooh, and we have a visit from Mr. Sachs, which is not so great. Gain 10 echo and a favor, and a bit of fuel. Polythreme, the king with 100 hearts. What a useful fellow. Without his exports, I'd be delivering my own coal. Favor, 50 echo. Wow. And 1 fuel. And then the Salt Lions is still the Salt Lions. Quaker's Haven has been taken over. We are well informed of the situation. Painfully well informed. Thank you, though. And Rack exists. Gained 55 echo. And a bit of fuel. We are done here. We don't want to talk to Mr. Sachs quite yet. We want to know where as many islands are as possible before we do that. We'll go and check in our lodgings. Do we take a rest? Terror at 28. It's a little high. Do we have nightmares at all? Amazingly, no. Nothing yet. And I think that the island will probably be locked down the next time we go to that. Probably won't do too long a run for the next one. Maybe scour the southern area of the Untersee a little further out. I think that should be fine. Yeah, I think we should be okay. Nothing else to be done here. What we need to do is we need to go to the Khanate, either Khan's Shadow or Khan's Heart, but we don't have access to Khan's Heart, so we will be Khan's Shadow. We'll go get an empty mirror catch box. We'll pass by Mutton Island, of course, but I kind of doubt that we'll be able to rescue some more. Maybe stop off at the Iron Republic for fuel instead of doing it up here just to save a little bit of echo. So maybe that's a little bit too much min-maxing. In fact, I think it might be. Yeah, instead, we'll do a little bit of reconnaissance down here. We'll clear through what this area is. We'll sail to Mutton Island, down to Demuth, to Pigmote, And then we will do a big circle to Khan's Shadow, I think. Pick up the box. Head up to the salt lines, maybe refueling at Nook by then. Oh, no. No, that's not going to work out. So yeah, we'll just head up to Khan's Shadow and then head to Hunter's Keep to go and get the our officer, the Tireless Mechanics bit of questing done over there. We will ignore Mr. Sachs for now. Hopefully, he won't become too mad with us. How is our new fuel and supply doing? It is doing okay. It's not doing the greatest, but I think we can get away with just doing some more supplies and a little bit more fuel. 10 and 15? No, we want a full round trip. Let's go for a full 20. Or 19, as it were. So that will be fine. That should carry us all the way around to where we're planning on heading. And we'll set out here. So since we are taking such a distant trip, we will try to conserve on the fuel. But let's, I guess sail into fog. Yeah, not going to do too much for us. We'll check on Mutton Island, see if we can rescue anyone else. I think it was previously a check for if it was 3 rescues attempted. We may not be able to rescue any more people from Mutton Island. Let's see if we can dock in Quaker's Haven and get some more details about it. So we will gather the port report sneakily. And yeah, we can't grab any more refugees, unfortunate. We can attempt to dock, I suppose. The harbor is reinforced with wire and manned with Kaganian soldiers. Threatening fire, torches flare on the shore, illuminating thick-barreled cannons. There's a crack and a shot lands just off your prow. Water from the impact splashes your face. You are not welcome. Yeah, that's Quaker's Haven done. We've rescued all that we can. From there, let's head to Demille? Might as well. It's on the way to Pigmoat Isle. And then, of course, to Pigmoat Isle. We'll see what they have to talk to us now that they've kind of gained their own independence. Will they still throw that banquet for us? Will they have more problems for us to solve? No clue. We found Purewall Point, apparently. Ah, there's an island in the fog here. I can scarcely see it. Moody's Light. A whole bunch of little archipelagos. This is a thick fog, though. My goodness, it is. But on the other side of it will be Demille Island here. We will be able to get out of that fog and enter. Go and dock here. I think, 1, of course, we'll grab a port report. 2, we don't need any more sailors. We don't even have a something awaits us, so all we can do is gather supplies. I think that would probably go poorly. And we don't really need the supplies all that bad right now, so we will just set off from Demille Island. Hopefully, the trip to Pigmoat Isle will be long enough that we'll actually get that something awaits us again. That was an issue we were very commonly getting with the Fulgent Impeller. I didn't expect it to rear its head so early in this playthrough, but I guess those are just 2 very close locations. Let's travel from Halo to Halo here through these buoys. That's the one. There's Crab Cake again, the island with not much to say. We've gone underwater. It doesn't seem to have too much under there. Because I'm fairly sure it hasn't. I'm pretty sure we've passed by there underwater. We've entered another fog bank? Really? Wow. Might go blow up this Jilly Fleur again. Ooh, though, of course, yeah, there's no difference here regarding whether we have our lights on or off, so we will keep them off. Take that on before it can smite us in any way. Let's go see what they have for us. Ah, supplies. Okay, that is what I expected, instead of that strange catch from last time. And Pigmoat Isle, keep getting those two confused, has shown up here. Right on the other side of the fog. There's actually been a lot of fog between islands. Kind of interesting. So, what to do? First, support report. Second, Centillic. We need one of those for Rack. Z's bounty. Well, we'll start at the top here. Purchase Centillic. The KV's nets glimmer with fresh treasure. The Z's bounty. The KV's twitch their whiskers with pride as you cast your eye across their harvest and select the finest pieces. Lost 75 echo, but gained a Centillic for our trouble. And let's see what the banquet has in store for us. A banquet in our honor. King Gracenaw and First Minister Edgar invite you and the crew to share Pigmoat's bounty. A meal fit for emperors. You have to kneel at the long table, but none rise without eating their fill. United Cavia is flourishing. London may laugh at its new neighbors, but other powers have sent envoys to negotiate for Centillic. Spiced soup is followed by glistening haunches of meat wrapped in tender chickenwood strips. Is chickenwood a tree? Is that something else? I don't actually know. Both are merely appetizers. By dessert, you fear having to be rolled back aboard ship. The Seneschal orders the leftovers delivered to the hold. Sweet. So we've gained 2 supplies, lost our hunger, and lost 5 terror, which actually isn't half bad considering how much travel we've been doing through fog. Let's continue on, shall we? I guess there's no more developments to be done with Pigmoat Isle. 75 is a not great price for Centillic, but it is at least a close location with a regular purchase spot for Centillic. So we don't at least have to go all the way across to Port Cecil, which is distant. That is almost on the easternmost side of the map here. But speaking of going all the way across, let's head down south and make a loop to Con Shadow, shall we? I think we should be good to do that, at least for a bit. Fuel at 13 should be enough for us to go someplace interesting. Something Forgotten is here. I don't like the sound of that. No islands still. We'll at least pass through this halo of light. That is actually a very brightly lit area. And we found Fathom King's Hold just off of here. That's something at the very least. Discovered Lorcan's Port, and of course that is Fathom King's Hold. Lorcan's Port, named for that most enterprising of drownies. Phosphor cells burn green. Somewhere below, the king waits. Ah, and apparently... Right, we needed to go here for the Cheery Man from Fallen London, actually. That was his request. We found his former agent, apparently. You find him splashing in the shallows with other drownies. He's gone native. His skin is pale, his eyes are dead, his songs are beautiful. Unrepentant. I serve a proper king now, the recent drowny crows. King of the Z, not some ratty spite pub. And I'm not afraid of his bruiser, neither. Already dead, ain't I? Sank to the bottom and swam back up. There's nothing he can do to me. He leans close. His breath smells of brine. But let me share what I learned on the way. What's lost is lost. The Fathom King won't heal the cheery man's leg. Even if he would, the cheeriness wouldn't want to pay that price. Tell him to stop dreaming. Return to London to deliver the bad news. Unfortunate. Hopefully he doesn't take it out on the messenger. Let's go compile a port report for the location. The porter watches you write. She says nothing. Others who come and go, those granted audience, return dazed, awestruck. The king is not generous, but occasionally he is fair. And sadly, we don't have a something oasis somehow. I feel like we had a long travel from Pigmoat. I guess we didn't have that distance to travel from Pigmoat Isle. So we won't be able to descend for an audience, nor will we be able to trade for drowning pearls, but we wouldn't trade. We don't have the ability to, say, trade 7 Centillic anyway. So let's head out of here. We'll keep going south. We'll continue south for a little bit longer before we start to turn north. We'll keep sending out those Z-Bats. And let's actually turn our lights off as we pass by the shores here. No islands. How much further south can we possibly go? A little bit. Not terribly far, but far enough. Still no islands, though. Gardener's Rock. Not sure what that one's about. Ah, Adam's Way. Okay. That makes sense. So I guess we've reached the bottom edge of the world, then. Right? Adam's Way. Okay, there it is. I was about to say, it should be a southern chunk of land. It should be the southern mountain here. There we go. We'll find Adam's Way here. On a bed of monumental ruins, warehouses and way stations of shroom timber rise. We will go into Adam's Way, I think. By the gracious, the Presbyterate's splendidly head-dressed coast guards, a quaint but inviolable tradition governs entry. You must tell them one of 3 stories. In return, you will be permitted to spend a single day in port. Why are foreigners only allowed to spend a single day in Adam's Way? For your own protection, one of them explains kindly. Unsafe. The soil of the Elder Continent is dangerous to incomers, they claim. Those who linger can contract unfortunate conditions, hysteria, rapture, and emissions. And the rumors that Presbyterian law offers no protection to foreigners after dark. Errant nonsense, they say. But let's give them a tale of a city recently fallen. The gracious are always eager for news from London. A new day. Is their interest strategic, or do they just enjoy hearing about London's miseries? I was about to say mysteries, but that is not the case. Regardless, they permit you to dock. The day has just begun. In the town's square, a yellow-robed priestess plants a seed in a bed of black soil. No sooner is she patted down the soil, and a tiny shoot pokes forth. By mid-morning, it will be a sapling. By lunchtime, a budding tree. By evening's end, it will wither and fall. You must be back on your ship before then. And, what shall we do here? Let's listen to a storyteller. Might as well. If we had something. I'm actually not sure why we can't talk to the avuncular broker here. Ah, I see. We probably need to wait. Then we'd be able to talk to him. I think we will listen to a storyteller, though. Ignore the gaudy entertainments intended to defraud visitors. Past the street hawkers, they will only tell you what you want to hear. Shun the tavern gossip, most of which is fabricated by the Mithridat office. The Prester's propagandists. Let's listen to a storyteller instead. The buzzing of the bees. Climb the stairs, cut into the hill, sit at the foot of the bee-capped stone columns. They will shield you from the southern mountain heat. Be quiet, listen. Old storytellers share the shadow. The Prester is on the verge of declaring the Dawn Machine a blasphemy. London's bureaucracy is riddled with the children of the thief of faces. An expedition of foreigners recently put to shore to the west, then went south in search of the garden. They were discovered and given to the Red River. So that last one there, is curious. Uh, Search of the Garden. I'm actually not sure what that one is all about. Apparently there is something secretive that the Presbyterate has to hide. But we actually have the port report, so that's what we get from them. And we could talk to the avuncular broker here. He has a commission for us. His client has a task of modest but scriptural significance. He is conducting interviews. An interview with the avuncular broker. He meets you on the balcony of a shoreside coffee house. His handshake is effusive. His smile and cummerbund are broad. He urges you to squares of sticky baklava and a tiny glass of black coffee, sweetened with a sprig of mint. I trust you won't mind answering a few questions, he asks, opening a notebook to ensure we're on the same page, so to speak. The interview is scandalously personal. What business has he to ask of such things? We can answer truthfully, lie to him, or depart immediately. Let's answer truthfully, even though it means giving up a secret. I think we'll be okay. An unexpected tactic. He blinks in surprise. Goodness, I must admit I expected you to lie. Never mind, never mind. Knowing you as well as I do now, he studies his notebook. Too embarrassed to meet your eye. I think we can do business. Lost a secret, but we have some business from him. We could talk to him there. Let's catch a nut. Let's try to catch a nut, I suppose, that falls from the tree of a single day. Picking them from a branch is forbidden, but fallen ones are useless. You'll need to intercept it between bow and ground. Probably not. Indeed, fruitless. The branch is too far, the nut too small, your hand too slow. When it strikes the paved square, the nut bursts into brief, pointless life. Thread-like roots squirm out, groping for water. Desperate roots claw at a crack in the stone. It's no good. Its strength spent, the shoot browns, stiffens, and expires. We've gained a lamentable relic. We actually haven't had a whole bunch of, so that's not too terrible to get a result for. And I think the other one is also not all that great. Let's listen to the avuncular broker, though, for our last day in Adam's Way. He orders a plate of figs soaked in honey. Tell me, what do you know about the disciples of the Thief of Faces? Doing the prester's work, or snuffers to children and Londoners. Awful creatures eat candles, steal faces, erasing them is a sacrament. An associate of mine recently found one in Port Carnelian, but before he could expose it, he disappeared. Maybe the snuffers got him, or perhaps one of the port's spies. The place is stuffed with them. Your commission is to root out Port Carnelian snuffer, capture it, bring it here. I'd like to ask it a question or two. He pops a fig into his mouth. So we have to go grab a snuffer in Port Carnelian for the avuncular broker. So let's go write that down, shall we? Need to go to Port Carnelian for the avuncular broker there. Not too bad, but that is, I do believe... Oh, no, that didn't actually pass any time, so that's not too bad. What shall we do instead? We could attend a funeral feast, I suppose? It might be a little worrisome. I suppose we may do it once, though. I think it gives you terror, maybe? Not quite sure. But I think we'll go do it just because we haven't done it before with this captain. Attend a funeral feast. A public square, a gathering of the bereaved, uncannily cheerful. A table, shining with cutlery, white china plates, tall glasses. Curiosity moves us closer for a better look. The replete occupy lofty positions in the Presbyterate's military. Despite their sanguinary past, they dine with a prester and send their children to be educated at London's university. However, they maintain their tradition of eating their dead. The feasts are held in public. Here in a broad square stretches a splendid table. The departed was only a distant relative, some great aunt or second cousin, and the atmosphere is jolly. Servants carry the deceased over in steaming joints cooked to perfect pinkness. A stately mourner stands, already wobbly from wine. Shall I carve? And we could steal scraps, which we actually have a pretty good chance to do. but it would give us unaccountably peckish most likely, considering they are eating a person. Let's simply observe, shall we? The locals hurry by, unwilling to watch. It's the foreigners who linger and gawk. Feasting. A plummy anthropologist cranes her neck for a better view. This isn't normal, you know, she tells you, noticing your interest. The other nations of the Presbyterate think they're crackers. Still, I bet the Prester finds them useful. The threat of imminent cannibalism must facilitate no end of diplomatic negotiations. They're not wrong. I'd say that negotiating with cannibalism, any cannibals, from any country is probably, that's something you'll definitely have to keep in mind whenever you think about them. But a salt cellar passes along a table. Napkins dab at mouth corners. The anthropologist is warming to her subjects. I hear the practice began with one of their forebears who sailed into the far north. I may have to take a trip that way, see what it's like for myself. Gained a bit of terror, gained a tale of terror and a memory of distant shores, and it is time for us to return to our ship. The day is over, it's time to return to your ship. I just said that, thank you very much. Back to Z. The gracious comb the streets, ushering visitors politely back to the dock. We'll be done here, and no other way in. Though we do have access to the shops, right? And I forgot we collected this bale of parabola. Let's go sell that at a fair price. We could get fuel here for relatively cheap. Might buy a few. Let's say up to 15. I think that's probably a fair amount, enough to get us all the way back. And we could get sacks of dark drop coffee beans. I don't believe they sell for very much more in London, though, sadly. I would love for them to do so, but pretty sure fallen London prices for that. Kind of marginal improvements. Sell for 44. Would be something, but not the greatest. I suppose we could use them to bribe the Leopard clan, but probably not the best option. I think that's all we'll do in the shops here. But we do have access to this. We do know what the location is. So we can go up to Khan's Shadow now. We'll take the eastern path so we can clear out some of the blackened areas over there. And we do actually need our lights on because we are not close enough to the shore to go and get the benefits from traveling by land. Discovered Point Livingston. Maybe this is the point where they set off for the garden, the foreigners. There was a bit of mystery about that. Bit of, not quite mystery, more storied rumors and whatnot. Yeah, but we are now far enough away that we should be discovering new stuff, including a behemoth, which is behemoth stash. There's the one. It is not what I wish to be discovering here. And apparently there's something underwater to the northwest. Why don't we go check that out, shall we? Ooh, which we cannot. Okay, I guess we were over something? Not quite sure. We've discovered Igol somewhere, presumably ahead of us. Yes, there it is. So this is where we will be able to get rid of our taste for Nook. Let's go do that, shall we? Igol. The station is pinned to the surface of Igol. Once it was a roving vessel, the Fortis kettle, and floated freely from place to place. Now it is stuck on the spines of Fluke Rock. Well, let's go grab a port report, of course. The Admiralty would find this a curious place. Loose information. You gather a description of the Fortis kettle and a survey of its resources. You scrape away a little of the sealant and the color of amber and the texture of wax that keeps seawater out where the hull is pierced by the spines of Igol. You sketch the arrangement of decks and hatches so far as you have been able to reach, but about the population you cannot offer as much detail. The tomb colonist declines to be identified, and the traveling postman laughs at you. I think we will sacrifice a memory of Nook, though. Freedom sits heavily on your shoulders. This will reduce your taste of freedom quality by 5. You will be able to spend less time in Nook each visit, but will gain less terror upon leaving. I think that's probably a good idea here. A release. You press the needle to your palm. There's a drop of blood, a jolt of pain. The needle grows. For the first time since leaving Nook, you can feel the pressure of your own blood straining against your skin. Intolerable, hot, too hot, bursting in the air. A fantasy, a future. We will taste this. The pressure under your skin seeps away like the slow deflating of a balloon. It leaves a hole in your mind, already folding in on itself and becoming impossible to remember. But we've got only 5 tastes for freedom from Nook. And we lost a memory there and 2 terror, which is not too bad. That will evidently be all we can do here. We don't have the solace fruit to go and bribe the first mate with. Nothing particularly interesting over here to buy or really sell. Except for solace fruit, which will earn us 4 memories of distant shores, which is another thing we can cross off the list for the Song of the Z. Not half bad there. We just have to find a regular or a repeatable way of getting solace fruit, and I'm pretty sure there's something in Guider's Morn that will allow us to do that. So we'll have to go and see if we can find that trade. For now, though, we will be done in Igel. We'll head up to the surface, I think, and continue to search through for things with our Z-Bats there. I think that'll probably be a better way of searching for things underwater. Doesn't necessarily show us what's around. No new islands. That's okay, kind of to be expected. Yeah, a whole lot of not much. Okay. Well, I think we will... find a moray. Did not expect that much. I've actually just noticed you can barely hear it. The morays move with the grinding of stone. You just barely hear it kind of moving around, but considering we know from our previous captain that all of the Z-Beasts have been modified by someone, I swear we figured out who, but I can't quite recall as to who it was. Very interesting that they have just that little touch of extra detail. But we'll go and find the Khanate. Khan's Shadow here. Grab a port report with. And the Admiralty, I'll have a bit of fun with that. We can trade our singular hunting trophy for 4 Watchful Curios, but we will not do that. We will instead pick up an empty mirror catch box. And we'll keep that captivating treasure as well. We'll just keep that one on us. No aft slot to equip the Mile Breaker 2. And fuel and supplies are doing all right. So that will kind of be all we'll do here. We'll head into Khan's Glory. Skip over Khan's Heart for now. Head into Khan's Glory. See if we can gain access to the Nefrit Quarter. That wouldn't be half bad. Especially as we need romantic literature for the Merchant Venturer of some kind or another. But that is something we can get from here or eventually from Rack, but we do have to deal with all of that stuff in Rack before we can get there. We should actually be traveling with our lights off, shouldn't we? That's a good point. I should be in Khan's Glory now? Yep. A plate of stately isolation. It is 5 drowning pearls. And we need 4 Tiamon's Mercy. So we actually can do that. Okay, to go and gain access to trade. Let's go do that then. Offer gift to the Tiamon. This clan is named for the sizable and ferocious fish of the surface. They have a fondness for drowning pearls for some secret clan ritual. An offering accepted in the yellow chamber by the palace entrance. A masked functionary scrutinizes the pearls. Yes, she says, even through your mask, She does not meet your eyes, even through the mask, not your mask. She rises, turns, and leaves. We've gained 1 Teeman's Mercy. We'll gain 2, 3, and last but not least, 4, which means we will be able to ask the Teeman contacts to intercede with the Leopard. Leopard's favor is essential for gaining access to the Khanate trade. Grey Chamber. A masked functionary hears your request in the Grey Chamber. We will consider the matter, is all she says. Oh, we have 2 leopards on dissension. Oh, and we need 5. Shoot. Okay, so that's actually a lot more difficult now. So maybe that's not the best option. Shoot. I had thought that we would be able to gain access just like that, but I think we gain Leopard's Condescension for 5 sacks of Dark Draw Coffee Beans. They're at cheapest 38 Echo, so 5 would be 300. No. Have that. So 190? I think 190 Echo per Condescension. Best rate for Drowning Pearls, I believe, is 19 if we ever find Dahoot. Take a look here. Dahoot. Where are you in our undersea economy chart? Yeah, Drowning Pearls. Oh no, 30 Echo. And we will need 20 to gain one that is 600 Echo. Whoa. Yeah, that is way worse than buying just Dark Drop Coffee Beans. Horribly worse. So yeah, we should definitely go with those Dark Drop Coffee Beans then. Okay, that'll be something for later then. That will be trips between Adam's Way and Khan's Heart, and that is a much closer trip than Port Carnelian. It's about what's the formula? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So it's just B squared basically here, just the B route. But from here we will go up to Hunter's Keep. We'll go deal with things there, shall we? And actually, let's check out our hold. 28. Yeah, definitely go to Hunter's Keep, because I don't think we will be able to get to the Salt Lions with A, enough fuel, or B, enough space to make it back safely. So we'll just head from here. Distantly north. And I guess we'll be traveling through some undiscovered areas to do it. Kind of doubt that there will be much here, but I suppose we may as well send out Z-Bats. Ah, the Sea of Lilies. Ah, but we already know about that. We know that Wisdom is over there. There's that giant frog. I don't actually know if that's supposed to be alive, because if it is alive, that is like a good 100-meter frog right there, which is a terrifying concept if you think about it. Definitely not a pleasant one, to be sure. Keep heading here. Right, we might as well stop off at Rack, shouldn't we? Since we do have that Scintillic. We'll be able to offload that and gain access to the King, who is connected to us through the tether in some way. We'll take advantage of the lightship, even if they don't like us. We won't dock here, of course, because they'll chase us away with calls of Captain Mushroom. But we can at least utilize their light, even if they don't like us. And let's go and plunge? Desurface? Because there's surface and then there's dive. There we go. Can't believe I've forgotten the word dive. This should give us access to Rack's lovely set of resources. So, we'll go here, and we will, well, we'll grab the port report. Of course, might as well open up the shops for the state of the city, and we will buy an audience with the fair king. The wreckers fear and adore their king. With the right offering, you may be able to meet him, and of course I do have the right offering. Sometimes it happens in this way. The rusted walls behind him are draped with 2 banners made of the tattooed flesh of his amputated legs. He's admiring the scintillic through a jeweler's lens as you enter. We are pleased. Tell me, he says, looking at you. How would you... Good God. He wheels toward you. His voice is hoarse. We're not strangers, you and I. Taste the tether and see for yourself. And we are acquainted. So, let's go wrecking, shall we? If you can lure ships towards Rack, the wreckers may sink them. The king himself will reward you. Right then, trespasser, we've heard fine things about some of the captains in Khan's heart. Why don't you go there and convince them to come our way? Sure, I will. And, we could eavesdrop on them, but I do want to increase the state of the city, because, God, they can be a benefit, to us. Like a really, really good benefit. And we may as well approach the mirror, I suppose. At the rear of his chamber, the fair king keeps a mirror made of ice. It holds a reflection, neither yours nor his, but that of a narrow, bespectacled gentleman. The king allows no one to approach it, but perhaps he will make an exception for you. And, of course, he is just sitting taller in his throne. As we enter, he cannot help but smile back. He cannot help but smile, rather. Welcome back. Let's go see what he has here. Well, very well, today I shall allow it for a short while. The man in the mirror, you can see your reflection distorted in the ice. But there is another clearer reflection as well. A long-faced man with receding black hair and round-rimmed glasses. He blinks solemnly at you. Let's go see what he's all about. Try to see the man in the mirror. Is there more to him? Free for all. You step towards the mirror. It flashes in the light. He stands at the Cumane Canal. His hair is blacker than the dark drop coffee in his mug. Men and women from the surface crowd around him. They look sickly in comparison. One passes him a letter. Envelope white as snow, seal as black as bark. The man reads it and passes the young woman a flask. Before her crewmates can set on her, she has drained it. Her skin glows with new vigor. And before they can set on him, he laughs and, in the spirit of liberty, equality, and eternity, gives them each a flask of their own. The fair king's voice interrupts the vision. I am never sure what it is we are seeing. The gentleman's hopes, his fears? He certainly seems to have an ambitious imagination. And we have a move in the great game. But we know that that is probably the creation of the Dawn Machine cult, but I don't understand it at all. And I don't even know if we are supposed to understand it. But we will part from the fair king here. We will return, of course. And I think we will probably finish up there. Could buy some more fuel to make sure that we can make it. But it is pretty expensive, and it is... Ooh, possibly necessary. I think we'll buy a little bit. 2 just in case. Expensive, but very possibly necessary. I'm gonna go in surface as well. Baked breeze rises. The improbable scent of stone out of some distant desert. You are close to the salt lions. Yes, yes, we are. Very close, actually. How is our hold space doing? Too high to think about working for them, unfortunately. But we'll keep heading on here. Pretty much, yeah, straight across to Hunter's Keep. We'll be able to offload one of the claymen, and the mirror catch box will be able to be filled, and we'll be able to help out the tireless mechanic with his, his mechanic, or his story. Does he ever sleep? His eyes are dark circled, but his hands are steady. Yes, they are. We'll pass by Guider's Morn up here. Presumably, attempting at the very least to dodge any of the pirate frigates that are around there. And we'll do all right. And we will come to... Shepherd Isles. Yeah, we might as well go and get a port report from them while we're already passing by. We can turn off our lights and simply rely on the closeness of shore to keep our terror at bay. It does seem like there's a ship just kind of circling out there. I've actually never seen that. It's not blocked by anything. Very interesting. Go grab the port report and hear the tale of the standing stones just to get a memory of distant shores here. And be done. And that ship really is... Oh, there he goes. He's finally sailed off. He got unstuck off of whatever it was he was stuck on. And we'll just travel up the coast of the Shepherd Isles here. As we continue to head directly west to Hunter's Keep, where we may run into an issue here. Something had changed the last time we were at Hunter's Keep, which means there may be trouble. I hope we are well enough equipped to deal with it. I might even shuffle around officers and whatnot. Not quite sure. Let's try to min-max some things here. First officer, mirrors and veils. Maybe better than mirrors and pages. I can't recall what exactly we will need. I think it is iron and veils. Genial Magician is an engineer. He just gives veils. Veils and mirrors. I think we're probably good with our current setup. I'll have to switch back the first officer there at some point. Let's check on Hunter's Keep. Oh dear. Go grab the port report here. Well, this will, you know what? We haven't actually seen this, because the last time we did this, we were, well, it was after this event. Let's do this first. To visit the cellar, we will need, the mechanic says, tells the sisters, to visit your sub-cellar. Oh, that nasty place, Lucy says airily, a little hastily. Yes, we'll take you down there. She smiles, but we'll need stories. Something alarming for Cynthia, a Z story for Phoebe, and a tale of distant places for me. So we'll go spend that, shall we? Beneath Hunter's Keep, the sisters listen with delight to your stories and unlock the cellar door for you. The key is so heavy that Cynthia can only lift it with both hands. We won't go in, she says. We don't go in. The signs on the stones have a Kaganian look. In the deepest sub-cellar, your candles illuminate a litter of tumbled stones, the remnants of a temple. The pool at the cellar's center is almost dry. The remaining water there seethes oddly in the candlelight, as if it were near boiling, but it's quite cool to the touch. The writhing river flows near there, the mechanic remarks, one of the tributaries of Dream. Not dreams, just Dream in general. I hope it doesn't touch the well those poor girls drink from. My enemies find me when I sleep, but this water will attract my enemies to this poor fellow. He bends to dip his hand in the water and sketches a sign on the clay man's forehead. The man watches him stolidly. The mechanic hands him the mirror catch box. Hold this, he says. Keep it open. Don't let go no matter what happens. The clay man's huge hands unfold the box. There, the mechanic says, turning to you, a serpent trap. Now I can sleep. I can finally sleep. He smiles. And then I think I might be able to offer you something rather interesting. Ah. Curious. So we lost a clayman. We have a serpent trap. This clayman looks confused as it grasps the mirror catch box in its great gray hands. It would look a lot more confused if it knew what to expect. I lost a Z story, a tale of terror, memory of distant shores, and gained 10 fragments and lost the mirror catch box. Let's go talk to the mechanic right away. Uh, Allow him to enjoy his sleep here. It might be messy, he warns you. Could you have a couple of strong sailors nearby? Tell them to snap the box shut when the trouble begins. He holds up a bottle of laudanum. I will be sleeping deeply. A certain amount of excitement. When nothing seems to be happening, you take to your own bunk, but a roar from the clayman brings you sprinting back to the mechanic's cabin. You fling open the door. The man's eyes seethe with viric flame. It's struggling against the efforts of the sailors to restrain it. As you rush to assist, it flings one sailor off, but the other manages to snap the box closed. Instantly, the man goes stiff, a lifeless clay statue. The viric glow now pulsates from the box. In the bunk, the mechanic sleeps on, his face wreathed in dreamy smiles. He will sleep so until morning. We've lost the serpent trap, but we have gained a mirror catch box full of very angry dream snakes. And we've learnt that the mechanic stole a secret from the dreams of the stone pigs. Interesting. Well, let's ask a mechanic to explain what exactly the hell is going on. Well, it's like this. I stole a secret from the Echo Bazaar with the help of the Finger Kings, you know, the serpents who rule Dream. Then I reneged on the Finger Kings. Don't look at me like that. Would you rather I'd given them the secret? Pigs of stone. I talk about engines all the time. I'm sure you've noticed, and I dream about them. I found myself dreaming of the stone pigs. I don't entirely understand still. They're how the bazaar travels between stars. Did you know they did that? And they sleep, so the Finger Kings can crack their dreams open, so the Finger Kings recruited me. I found a secret in those dreams. An engine like the Z's never seen. Oh, Captain, let me build it for you. You won't be sorry, but there are some things I'll need. I know. Isn't it always the way? And we now know what he needs. I suppose we don't necessarily. Probably in the journal here. Right? Certainly. There we go. Materials for the impeller. We need an element of dawn, 1 casket of sapphires, and 40 units of Stygian ivory. So that'll be something we have to upgrade our ship to do for sure. But that will be for tireless mechanic here. Element of dawn. A casket of sapphires. And 40 Stygian ivory. You know, we'll actually move that to a new row. I was writing this kind of in a corner, so wasn't much room. This is actually quite a bit required. Of course, we have done this before, and the payoff is very, very, very good. Oh, good God, there are a lot here. Element of Dawn, Casket of Sapphires, Stygian Ivory, and the Mechanic's Secret. And the Unsettling Sage. All brought to King Eater's Castle here. Whew, okay. Big voyage to have, but we have a smaller voyage for now to go and search. A hump of dark rock swathed in mist, like 100 Untersee islands. But here's a grand house, windows aglow, lawns, impossibly green and lush in the false starlight, raked gravel paths. You stand on the dock as the sea nudges the ship's sides. An unexpectedly warm breeze carries the faintest trace of lavender. And apparently, according to the mechanic there, the dream water may have been reaching the well, so maybe that's why the sisters were having their premonitions. Let's see where they are. The parlor is empty. Where are the sisters? The maid makes it clear through a series of unwelcoming growls that Phoebe, Lucy, and Cynthia are all three indisposed. No lunch today, apparently. Oh, okay. Whew. Oh, okay. I was kind of worried there that that event was happening. Turns out didn't need to worry. I just don't have any something awaits you. So we are all good. Everything is totally fine. We just had to go and do the mechanics thing, the tireless mechanics thingy-me-bob. We'll head on to Fallen London with a little bit of fuel to spare. Not half bad. Let's go redock. I don't know why I turned our headlights on. We don't need the lamps on at all. This place is super well lit up. Ah, congratulations are in order. I hear that you bring happy tidings, Captain, which make me all the much more glad to welcome you back to London after your certainly perilous voyage. Now to our business. And sure you have 10 spaces in your cargo hold, but I can't back out here. Hold on a minute. Okay. All right. I hope I have 10 spaces then. I mean, I don't have very much fuel or supply, so I hope I do. Let's relay the drowning's message. The bruiser listens and peels another orange. The blind bruiser looks out to Z. Our once colleague is mistaken on several points, most notably that he is beyond consequence. I may not be an intellectual man, but I am occasionally imaginative. Regardless, I am not one to hurt the messenger, thank goodness. These here crates are considerations for your services thus far. Unfortunately, our labors are incomplete. We must resort to a secondary scheme. I have heard about a once great poet who knows much about things what are presumed gone. He has fled himself to Khan's shadow in the east. Find him. I have included a little something among your payment to sate his appetites and pave your way. So now we have to go to Khan's shadow and find the once great poet. Interesting. Gained 100 echo. Firkin of Prisoner's Honey. Presumably that is the object he's given us, maybe, to sate his tastes. 5 fuel and 2 supplies. Actually, they're not too bad of a payoff there. Not too bad at all. We will, first, deliver the rest of the claymen. This is where they wanted to be, or at least where they're supposed to be. Ashore, one by one they rise, uncomplainingly, with no trace of stiffness or discomfort from the long voyage. The deck resounds beneath their heavy tread. A shroom yard manager waits on dock, tapping her foot. About time, she says. There's your payment. Come along now, you. There's a good construct. Who's a good construct? Who's a good boy? Okay, we delivered the claymen. Thank goodness we don't have them stuck in our hold anymore, which means we have 6 more spaces to work with, which is great. Which is fantastic, actually. I kind of doubt that we'll be getting any more officers, so I don't think I'll search for new recruits, and we especially don't need them since we are way over the amount of crew that we need now that we are clay. We will go and talk to the Admiral to go submit our port reports. And what is the day-to-day like on those further shores? Hunter's Keep. The sisters are keeping well. Yes, I think. Shepherd's Isles are nuts. Pigmoat Isle still exists. Fathom King's Hold. What's the old monster up to now? Oh. Nasty things. Nasty things. 30 Echo. Khan's Shadow. These are always fun. Come, let's hear about it. We'll get some drinks with the all of the officials in the department here. Lose some terror. Gain 30 Echo and a bit of fuel. Adam's Way. The Elder Continent. Elder than what? Pile of Mithridate nonsense, if you ask me. 30 Echo, fuel, and favor. Quaker's Haven is still Quaker's Haven. Igel. Oh, Station 6. One hears strange stories. 45 echo. Pretty good payout. And one favor. Fuel. Demuse Gate is still Demuse. Demuse Gate, apparently, is Demuse Island. 20 echo is alright. Rack is still Rack. And we'll be done with that. Let's see, what else do we have in our hold right now? Ah, right, we can bring that up to Vendor Bite. We can trade this for a color, I do believe, the Viric color, which we do still have, right? Yes, Viric, the color of shallow sleep. Wouldn't be too bad for us. I don't think we have anything that we wish to sell. We're keeping the Harlot Fry for, I believe it is hunting trophies that we can get there. And we will not be purchasing a live specimens. We actually have a strange catch which we can make into live specimens now. But we probably won't do that for a while until we find the Gant Pole. We should, and indeed will, probably rest in our lodgings. At the very least, we'll get recent news, because that will reduce our terror a little bit. And we will rest here as well, to reduce that down to 24. Sleep early, rise late, take in the air at Tyrant's Gardens, take coffee at Caligula's Coffee House, take advantage of a Z Captain's reputation. You could get used to this. And I think we'll be mostly done here. So let's check our space. So we've got lots and lots of fuel. A ton of fuel. Like, fantastic, fantastic amount of fuel. Is it time for us to upgrade? Maybe it's time for us to upgrade our ship. If we go check out the shipyard, the next one we were thinking about getting would have been this, the Caligo class merchant cruiser. Big ship, huge hold capacity, a higher hull, as well as, unfortunately, a higher weight by a significant amount. I think we were waiting on the Fulgent Impeller to go and do that, but I'm also thinking that the Fulgent Impeller will effectively require this in order to get, most likely. Gives a little bit of a Veil's decrease, but a Heart's bonus. And we can overcome that, of course, with secrets and pay like that. So we wouldn't ever have to worry about hold capacity probably ever again. But unfortunately, that would cost 6,000 echoes, putting us just under this amount. If we get up to that much, I think we will take this. If we get it so that we can have over 10,000 echoes, and safely sell off everything without going below. So we'll have, the fuel and stuff required. Well. You know what? Life's not great without a few surprises. We'll pick it up now. We've been looking at it for a long time. Let's pick up the merchant cruiser and give it a name. What should we name it? I think. What shall we name it? It's a massive, massive ship. Let us call it Leviathan. Big, tasty, gigantic whale. I suppose we could call it Beluga or something like that too, but that's a little less impressive. Cthulhu, maybe? Not really technically, though. I think Leviathan will go. Leviathan, our Caligo class merchant cruiser. Big ship, massive hold capacity. Unfortunately, increased quarters requirements, so maybe we will go. Or actually, in fact, we must go to London to get cheap sailors. And also, let's see. I think we'll even need more than that. Yeah, we're still not even close to getting a minimum crew requirement here. So this may result in us losing quite a bit of money for a time. And I think we'll go for one more section here. 18 should be enough to keep us over. I think new requirements will probably be, with the We Are Clay, I would say they would be somewhere around 13. 13 to crew the ship to full capacity. So we have a bit of a buffer of 4, 5 crew that we can lose before we start traveling at half speed, especially because our engine is not so powerful right now. We will be going a little bit more slowly. But we will no longer have to worry about hold space, which also means we can go into our lodgings here, visit the study, and create some of these other options, shall we? First things first, let's create a shrine to stone. You know the hymns, the prayers, the traditions. Perhaps you believe, perhaps you don't, but it'll comfort the Zailers. Let's create a glittering shrine. You labor on the shrine for a night and a day and a night, following the prescribed patterns with care. Stone likes beautiful things. Stone likes light. So the stories go. Of course, Stone, if she even exists, is a shining mountain 1,000 miles to the south. But your shrine, at the very least, is pretty. Lost 7 secrets, gained 7 hearts, lost a captivating treasure and a bit of supply. But we have our shrine to Stone, giving us just that little bit more heart, which is not too bad. And as well as creating that, we will also create a monstrous almanac here. You could fill whole shelves of notebooks with what you've learned of the Z, its monsters, its treasures, and its secrets. And so you will. A distillation of treasures. The most complex truths evade easy revelation. One must track them and harry them, cage them. They may be caged only by ink wrung from the veins of treasures. To record these truths, I must grind these treasures for ink. They will call me eccentric. They will call me deranged. But they will never call me ignorant. 7 secrets gone, gained 7 pages, and lost 7 outlandish artifacts. Gained the monstrous almanac. And secrets aren't actually too bad, because that will have raised our pages significantly to a fantastic number. There, with 72, we will be able to gain secrets a lot more quickly through fragments. About 250-ish, it looks like, fragments to gain. Oh, maybe not. About 300 total fragments to gain a new secret. But those will just sit in our now very extended cargo hold, which is great. That's fantastic. We now also have an aft slot, so getting Milebreaker probably wouldn't be a bad idea. That would, of course, incur an additional cost, and we will be traveling at great expense now that our supplies are kind of screwed. So I think we will need to find a little bit of a profit route. We've unlocked quite a bit here. Maybe it's time to talk to Mr. Sachs and do his mission, shall we? No, we can't. We shall not. Because we will need not 1, but 2. 2 long boxes, which means we will need the hunting trophies to trade in the Shepherd Isles. I want to get that done first. So we'll not do that quite yet. We can luckily hold that on until whenever we deem that we want to do it. We have greatly increased crew requirements, which means each of these journeys, each of these voyages will require much, much more profit to be at all profitable. I think we might do a little trip to gain something back here. Let's go up to Venderbite. How will we do this? Let's go down, actually, instead. We will go to... God, I would love to get access to Khan's Heart. That would actually be really great. That'll cost even more up front. Shoot, I might be able to do it, but I also could have screwed myself here because of the costs. We'll have to get more food and supplies and stuff. I think we'll get up to 10 before we depart here. We'll actually stock up with more in Port Carnelian or Adams Way. probably Port Carnelian. We'll have to figure out things from there. Let's make a short trip. Well, sort of short. Actually, this is not very short at all. We'll be heading down by way of perhaps the Iron Republic, maybe Port Carnelian. Eventually to... Yes, Port Carnelian. Up to the Khanate, to Khan's Glory. We will pick up in Port Carnelian or Adam's Way. I'm still kind of deciding between the two. Enough Dark Drop Coffee Bean to gain access to Khan's Heart. It will be expensive. Hopefully it will be worth it, because we do have the trade for romantic literature with the Merchant Venturer, and that will give us a little bit of cash back, hopefully enough to recoup our costs there. From Khan's Heart, we will then head up, get this. I think that is the Sea of Lilies, that location. For some reason it has not been discovered. We will head over to the salt lines. We will grab a few shipments there. They will each cost 200, but make us back 300 with our extended, vastly extended shipping cargo space. We should be able to make a significant profit off of that. Head over to Venderbite, then down to Fallen London. We will be able to restock down in Port Carnelian and Adams Way. Port Carnelian probably be better in terms of prices, if only slightly. I think the supply costs are equal between the two. No, I think they're different, actually. Let me check Adams Way here. Because Adams Way does have identical prices for Dark Drop Coffee Beans. That much I know. But does it have fuel and supply prices equivalent to Port Carnelian? 12 for fuel, 23 for supplies. Yeah, I think that is definitely worse because it is 12 for fuel, but 18 for supplies. So we'll go get those in Port Carnelian instead. We actually need to go to Khan's Heart, one of the Khanate area. I think it is Khan's Heart, to go and send some folks back to Rack. So we will refill in Port Carnelian. We will refill in Nook, hopefully, and then go to the Salt Line, make lots of profit off of there. Hopefully, go to Venderbite, talk to the first curator, and finally head back down to Fallen London. So we'll do a nice big loop here. And who knows, maybe we can even discover some more of the blackened spots. Get some more of those cleared out. But we do have to set out first. And I think we are all done here. Hopefully. Very hopefully. Yeah, I think we're okay. Whew, okay. Let's do this. Hopefully we don't starve to death on the way down. This is not as slow as I thought it would be. Well, I suppose I've only traveled for a little bit. I can't tell how much slower I am traveling than with the previous ship. We are 3,000 tons heavier. At least I assume that it is the unit of measurement that they are using. So we may or may not make worse time, but by what margin I am unsure. We will stop by many a port to go grab port reports. Of course, that will slowly, possibly, recoup costs. We'll stop by Mutton Island, pretty much everything on the way down. And as we make our way down to Port Carnelian. And I do believe we need 15 Dark Drop Coffee Beans to get into to get a ring to get to the Nefreet Quarter. Grab the port report from here, succeed on that, and keep on trucking along, or boating along, as it were. Megalops is questionably concerned with us. Maybe not quite so terribly. Yeah, we're all right. I guess we'll see the drain that we have now with the merchant cruiser. I can't tell if it's more than the previous ship. I think it's just about equal. Since we didn't change the engine or anything, I think there shouldn't be that much of a difference. But we will happen upon the Humane Canal here. Our new crew is sort of eating us out of house and home. It's not quite as terrible as I thought it might be. Definitely not as bad as when we initially got the clattery heart and filled up our crew to 35. God, that was a nightmare. But it's still not great. We are cutting through that at quite a rate. We'll get here, grab a port report, even if it is just perfunctory, and gain a move in the great game. Always nice. As somebody from the surface goes and gets stabbed. With the ship, actually, one of the other reasons that I got it is because not only do we have to move 40 Stygian ivory for the tireless mechanic over to Fathom King's Hold, we also have to get, I believe it is 50 supply down to the Grand Geode. And that is just something we could not do with our previous ship for both of those. But this should take care of us greatly in that event, which means we will be able to have everything go very, very well. This chili flare is really tracing us. He's following us intently. I guess I am just that visible. God, he is tracking us. He's on a mission. Okay. I don't know what that was all about. Is this ship really that trackable? I really hope not. I may need to increase my veils considerably if that's the case, which would cost secrets, but it'd be something. We'll go compile a port report. We've lost 2 pages. Aw, we just increased that. It's a shame. Gained a tale of terror, gained a memory of distant shores. Well. Let's open up the Gesundheit conspiracy here. The Market of Hungers. Actually, that is not half bad. That is actually pretty fantastic. Let's top off fuel. I think we'll go up to 30 even. And supplies here will be the cheapest no matter what. Anywhere in the Sunless Sea, it will be cheaper here than elsewhere. So I will pick up 25 even, and I think we'll still be fine. Because we still have another 60 cargo to work with here. So we are totally, completely good. But I think that will be all that we do here. No more to do in the Iron Republic. Let us set off to the Utter Shroom. We actually don't need to stop by Port Carnelian now. Let's head straight over to Adam's Way since that is closer, and Khan's Shadow. Actually, hold on a second. Can we get... we can get Firkins of Prisoner's Honey. For 26. That would get Blemigans, as well as supplies, but we don't really need the supplies since we can get them for cheaper here. I think we'll hold off on that. We will go to... Ooh, thank goodness this thing has a good turning radius. We will head over to the Utter Shroom only for the port report, and not a whole lot of anything else. And maybe I should have topped off with even more fuel than that. These supplies should at the very least cover a whole lot. And dreams begin. We will absolutely ignore them. We will continue on to the Utter Shroom. I'm actually very excited to see this ship dock. This is a very long, very massive ship. Or I say dock, I mean submerge. I will be very interested when we get over to Nook's side and see this thing dive. We'll go stop off here. Hello, you. We will not trade honey. We will gather intelligence. And shall we trade this immediately? Yeah, sure. We're not really doing anything else with the strange catch, right? Maybe? Perhaps about? We'll keep it on. We'll hold it on. We'll hold onto it until we can find the Gant pole, which should maybe be somewhere up here. Not quite sure if that one moves. It was up here last time, but maybe it's moved to a different location here. Let's head now to Adam's Way at speed and see how we do over there. It is one heck of a vessel, that is to be certain. We should have a distant run this a ways, which we may or may not run into that eyeball with. Do I risk going down there? That eyeball is really intriguing. I don't know if it disappears or not, too. Something forgotten is here. Yeah, we know exactly what it is. Not quite sure. Got a light ship. We got some blue profits off of there too. They are a nightmare. Oh, and off our... What is it, the 4 of the ship too? Turn our lights off. I think we do very much need to increase our veils. Those blue profits are a menace, that is to be certain. They travel in odd directions. Is that a block of 2 of them? No, I think we're okay. Okay. They kind of travel in a confusing direction. You can't really track them because of the pattern that they fly in. Oh, and we've got a jellyfleur proper, isn't it? Jellyfish. There we go. God, that thing is a big fellow. We may not be able to outrun it here. Oh my god, it is super fast. Okay, lights off. Let's see if we can avoid the dang thing. I don't think we've ever taken one on, but it will definitely not be in the ship. Not with our current arrangement and our current speed flows and everything. Oh, we travel so slowly. We'll want to get that Fulgent Impeller done sooner than later, but we do need the Echo to do the dang thing. We could go into Adam's Way. Oh, you know what? We probably should have gone to Port Carnelian just to get that quest done from the... what's his name? This fellow in here. Let's go grab... What was it 15? 10 and 15 Dark Drop Coffee Beans to trade. And we'll go into the Presbyterian. Listen to this to grab the port report. Let's assist in an animations hospital too, shall we? Stands apart from the port on the lonely Z-side bluff. A dusty track you climb the dusty slope. Animescence is a rare disease of the Elder Continent, a slow combustion of the soul, gradually baking the vital organs. Poets suffer worse than most, lovers worst of all. The blistered monks who run the hospital will accept any assistance. Well, where should we work? Judging by our skills, probably in the cloisters. Assist in the cloisters, where the monks catalog the patient's dispositions, peculiarities, and progress. Taxonomy. You conduct interviews, record observations, track the simmering, inexorable advancement of a dozen cases of the disease. The more phlegmatic patients endure better than the melancholy and the sanguine. I estimatably know what melancholy and sanguine have to do, the bloody and the sad. I have no idea what phlegmatic is. I would assume that it had to do with phlegm, but it seems to be a emotion more than anything else. Not really sure. The abbot commends your attention to detail. The monks are not wealthy, but they pay for your assistance with barrels of fresh well water, golden-crusted bread, and a small precious box of lemons. Okay. Succeeded in pages, gained some supplies. Very nice. And done all we can there. We could carry water here, but kind of worried about that. We'll head back to Adam's Way. Turn your back on the cedar wood doors, down the stony incline to the bustle of the port. Let's try to catch a nut instead, shall we? Another failure. But we'll collect that lamentable ruin. And, well, I suppose we may as well visit an exhibition of the Presbyterian curiosities. For the insignificant price of a single echo, the sober showman will lay the wonders of the Elder Continent directly at your feet. A pleasant distraction, you head towards the bright tents. So, what shall we look at? Grotesquerie, shore leave, expensive, but would reduce terror, which is honestly acceptable, and it probably wouldn't reduce it by very much. I think we will check out the Cabinet of Curiosities, shall we? A sign outside the tent reads, "Explore the natural and unnatural wonders of the Elder Continent. An impossibility catches your eye. Nourished. Here in a glass case, a rose grows from a stone. The stone is real, the rose is real. What nourishes it? The sober showman peers over your shoulder. It was planted a furlong from the mountain, and basked for a summer in its light. What need has it for water now, or air? A vision of the surface and 50 fragments. Not too bad. But it is time to leave the exhibition. And I actually didn't even read this flavor text here. The sober showman's exhibition. The signs advertising his entertainments bristle with exclamation marks. In person, he is more circumspect, but we now have to leave enough distractions. Let's head back to our ship, since the day is over. And that will be our expedition to Adam's Way. We are bleeding echo right now, but hopefully we'll be able to make some of it back. Let's head northwards past that gigantic, scary, terrifying Gillyfleur. Or, what was it? The Jellyfish. That spooked us quite so terribly. Up to Khan's Shadow. And it's still rocking by here. God, that thing moves. I think we will have snuck by here. We're far enough out that we can flick our lights on to stymie some of the terror gain. Really a costly ship to sail, this one. We really need to get that Fulton impeller. There is, right, Fathom King's Hold, and a fluke core, I think it is, off to our west, which we will not tangle with, not a chance. We'll go and dock at Fathom King's Hold here, just to get the port report and head on out. Suppose we could trade a Z story for a blessing of some kind. Well, blessing is a strong word for it. A boon of some kind, perhaps, from the Fathom King. And in fact, considering he can give fuel, I might go and do that. Let's grab the port report here and try to give ourselves an audience. It will take a Z story, but we will be able to get in. Descend to an audience with the Fathom King. The Fathom King is Lord of the Drownies, those dead who won't stop swimming. By some accounts, he's the Lord of all who die at sea. Bring him a story to tickle his curiosity. Speaking to the porter has the skin of a shark. He is a drowned woman's eyes. Can't read today, jeez. It is not permitted to look at her hands. Yes, she rasps. That story is sufficient. She opens the valves of pearl, switch that, and permits you to pass into the conduit. The throne cyst. This is the salt-blown heart of the hold. The Fathom King floats in his throne, a gem-starred bowl of sea stone, the size of a banqueting table. He's wearing a dressing gown of purple brocade, soaked dark with salt water. He leans his chin calmly on his hand. Beneath the surface of the water in his throne, his hidden regions pulse constantly and insistently. Well, don't need a sailor's life here. I will not witness an execution here, because that would be terrifying. I think I'll just simply ask for a boon of the king. You have brought the king a story gift. You may ask a gift in return. It is impossible to know what you'll receive. Some sea coal. Black fire, the king intones, risen from the sea. Remember me with its vapors. He smiles directly into your eyes. The audience is over. You return to the surface, hunched, plated, scuttling slaves. Haul baskets of wet coal behind you. We have gained 5 fuel. That's kind of exactly what I wanted, though, so that totally works. And shore leave? Nah. Not going to risk it. I've actually never taken that option, so maybe that does lead to something interesting, but I have a feeling it would just lead to sailors disappearing from the surface and joining the ranks of the drownies that the Fathom King does preside over. The stars are changing again. Are we lucky? No, pigs. Not so unlucky as to sad, but still will increase terror by a smidge, which is not of great benefit. We'll keep going here towards Khan's Shadow, which is over here. And there's actually a abyss here that I have not yet discovered. Eliphaus Rift. Very interesting. But we can see Khan's Shadow just out here in the corner. We'll go sail up there, grab the port report, and continue on to Khan's Glory, then double back to Khan's Heart. And just in time, too, because we have a port report. Not that we will probably do too much. Right, the Cheery Man. Healing a cheery man, take honey with a once great poet. He could smell it. His baggy eyes suddenly grow sharp. Nothing's forgotten, nothing's gone. I have seen it. There was a wood once, a place where things that were are. Dream with me. All right, then. Transportation. He leads you to his dismal chambers where the air is sweet and rotten like fruit left in a bowl. Pages of unfinished poetry litter the furniture. Sit. We will take a spoonful each, you and I will show you the way. Dipping a spoon into the honey, he shovels a blob of it into his mouth. You too, quickly. The edges of a pale wood. You dreamed. Amber light pushed between the branches of bare, white trees. Sand crunched underfoot. No, not sand. It was too white, too mealy. Bones. As brittle as summer bracken jutted from the earth. The air smelled like a mausoleum. I guess we have no choice but to follow the once great poet. This way, this way. He scampered along a thorny trail, his weariness left in the waking world. A journey. As you crossed a dusty stream, a flock of birds waddled from the water. Their necks were as sinuous as swans, but their bodies were as fat and flippered as a penguin. They clattered their long, narrow beaks at you. These are the edges of the wood, the poet explained. We will keep to them. The things in its heart are older, and then never learned to fear us. The amber sun never set on your journey, though you grew tired and rested and traveled again. At last, a black cliff rose. At the foot of the cliff was a cave. Before the cave, a fire burned. Its flames were white and wan. The poet hurried forward to join the people sat around it. You were dreaming of a pale wood. Ooh, okay, this is a spooky voyage. The edges of a pale wood you dreamed. Amber light pushed between the branches of bare white trees. Sand crunched. Oh no, this is the whole starting there. So we've got a few here. You spoke to the smiling young man. His speech was earthy and his knuckles scarred. He patted the white log he was sitting on. You took a seat. You traded tales of London. His were from the days before it fell, of markets on the frozen river and odd outlawed street names. Yours are from after. The flutter of bats about the chimneys, the flickering glow of the bizarre sigils, the schemes of the masters. Afterward, he strokes his beginnings of a beard. Times change, eh? There's no going back, of course, but sometimes there's new beginnings. He gives you a smile of crooked teeth. Interesting. So he is from before London fell. What does a promising poet have to say? You spoke to him. He and your guide were talking in low, fierce voices. You felt like an intruder. Oh, hold on. Right, the once great poet or something like that, right? So this is a different individual. Let's hear about him. A passing acquaintance. The promising poet shook your hand and inquired politely about your affairs. Soon, though, he fell back into conversation with his once great companion, and you were forgotten. You left them involved in a lofty argument about in a lofty arguments about meter. Oh, right, poetry meter, not meter as in distance. Meter as in the timing and whatnot. A love-struck princess. Hold on a moment. Hold on a hot second here. The woman in the Gant pole. We have not talked to her yet because we have not found the Gant pole in this playthrough, but in the last playthrough, the woman in the Gant pole mentioned that she was once visited by a princess who wished to know something. I believe how to save her kingdom or something like that. I think we've just found her. Her dress was of archaic connate design. She wore her leather strap around her wrist like a falconer. Her eyes were fixed wistfully on the fire. Poor company. She would not tell you her name, or where she came from, or why she was there. Those aren't the answers you want, she snapped. You won't want this one, either, but I'm giving it to you. What's done is done. Make do. Not a happy one. Well, we've got a distracted composer. I wonder if he would get along with the escaped composer in Rack. Occasionally he would sing snatches of lyric in a resonant baritone, something about candles and bells. He had little to say. I must ask you to forgive me, he said brusquely. I'm almost finished with the aria. In the meantime, I make poor company and get little sleep. But every dream has its price, doesn't it? You leave him to his work. So he's one of those artful sorts that works while dreaming as whilst awake. Okay, not too much to say about him. And last option, you can ask them to restore the cheery man. Or we can fashion a cane out of white sapling. Oh, I see. Right. We can either restore his legs or we can get him a cane, of course. Let's ask him to restore the cheery man. They must have known a way to renew him. The cure. Enter the cave, said the smiling young man. Find the pool, said the distracted composer. Drink, said the love-struck princess. You did as they bid. The cave was black as a vicar's cassock. The pool, when you stumbled into it, was cold as old teeth. Cupping your hand, you drank. The water was bitter, washing away the sweetness of the honey. You wake with a start in the once great poet's chambers. Your mouth is full. Snatching an empty wine bottle from beside the chair, you spit a measure of silvery liquid into it. The cheery man's medicine. Back to London. Okay. I hope it doesn't kill him, because he will probably come after me. But we have finished that part of it, which means it is time to return to Fallen London eventually for the cheery man possible final quest here. Compile a port report from Khan's Shadow. So many malcontents, so little time. We'll go and grab that. Closely written notes: conniving, debauching, speechifying, drinking, singing, speeching, poeting, now and then a drunken duel, very occasionally a savage ritual, murder, as one does. And we'll go and not do a whole lot here. No, we won't be turning that in. We won't be selling that because we do need that for Vieric. Everything else, pretty much casual. Oh, but Milebreaker would be a good investment. That to throw on aft would be very useful. And help us out greatly. Unfortunately, it will sap our echoes even more, so hopefully we will really, really have to work on finding a profitable trade route. So we will be able to do that at a much quicker rate than we were before. With how much cargo space we have, we'll be able to sell significantly more at a single time. And fuel consumption is a little higher, but not nearly so bad as I thought it would be. I thought we would kind of burn through that before we even got to Adam's Way, but we actually ended up making it without too much of a loss. Still, we have a ways to go. Let's head to Khan's Heart here. Or through Khan's Heart to Khan's Glory. Unfortunately for us, we have, unfortunately, run out the time on lovely music from this area. So we are Dead quiet. Let's make a wide turn to Khan's glory and start offering gifts to the Leopard clan. The royal clan of the Khan. The Khan himself has a notorious weakness for coffee, and his court follows suit. Long afternoon, you meet with an effusive official in the room of blue glass and pierced porcelain. You supply the customary compliments and courtesies while he nods complacently. Finally, you present a sample of the coffee. The official suddenly comes awake, inhales the scent of the coffee, regretfully glances at the porcelain screen behind him, a watcher. He bows to you 3 times and sends you on your way. We have gained another leopard condescension. 4, 5, and now we have enough to petition for access to the Nefrit Order. The clan of the Leopard grants trade licenses to foreigners. This gives access to the Nefrit Order in Khan's Heart to the south, allowing you to sell your goods there. Thank goodness. I will go pick that up. A grand ceremony. The effusive official is today attended by 3 servants and a blue priest, each carrying a candle of a different color. He speaks a formula in Kinganian, in Greek, and in one of the languages of the Elder Continent. You are anointed with oils and presented with a pair of sharkskin gloves. The blue priest admits you to a slightly less debased echelon of foreignness and blesses you in the name of the deep blue heaven. After that, you start filling in the forms. We have a Nefrit ring. We have lost all of Leopard's condescension, but we have access to the Nefrit quarter. Thank goodness. And we could sail past the clan palaces. I don't think we would know too much from that. I don't think we gain a port report or anything. So we will just pass by here. Go get some romantic literature, shall we? Let's move this way and see what there is to obtain, shall we? There shouldn't be too much that we can benefit from greatly in London that we can get here. Romantic literature is basically the only one, and if we do go through official methods, we kind of lose a lot of the profits. Our veils, unfortunately, has been decreased considerably. In fact, so considerably that I might want to increase it somehow. Can't increase hearts. We're probably just because of this officer. Who would that be? Gunnery officers are probably iron. Maybe the chief engineer? Yes, veils. Okay. I will increase it by 5, even though that will eat into our secrets. Just to rebalance it out with our new ship here. Because our ship does reduce our veils by 5. So that'll rebalance it to what we had before. Just at its base. Beyond that, we can go lure an adventurer to Rack here. A London captain smokes a Kinganian pipe as she admires the reflection of the street lamps in the water. Spin her a story of lights. Of course we shall. Because we are in Khan's Heart, London's rival, an oasis of light in the salt black wastes. Canals red the painted city. Street lamps glow, and water taxis putter. Let's go send her over. You sidle beside her and comment on the water. It's beautiful how the city ripples, isn't it? It reminds you of a port you once came across, you say. A place where they light the way with colored fire and dine on fish-fed flowers. Say that 5 times fast. She need only find the red and white lights beneath the waves. The captain huffs. Blue smoke streams through her nose. She dumps her ash into the water and sets off for the docks without another word. She'll be sailing over Rack in no time. And beyond that, we can try gathering a port report. 71% chance. We did. The Khanate generally assumes that all foreigners are spies or worse. It would be a shame to disappoint them, but it might be dangerous to prove them right. But we've done it successfully, so we get some precious scraps here. Rivalry between the Leopard and Eagle clans. The concerns about Chelenit raids. Some appalling gossip about the traitor Empress back in London. Perhaps you shouldn't write that last one down. And move on quickly. That fellow in the corner has an informer's look. Gained a port report. A little bit of suspicion. We can't let that get to 10, or else we will have issues. And we will get the port report for Khan's Heart. Let's enter the Nefrite Quarter, though. We have the token that permits you to enter the Nefrite Quarter and buy directly from the Khanate merchants. So let's use the dang thing, shall we? Cost us enough. And that'll open up the shops to us. So, everything here is pretty normal. Foxfire candles are a little bit cheaper than in Fallen London. I think they are 40 in Fallen London and 30 here. Prices for fuel and supplies are not great, but that was kind of to be expected. Spider's silk is actually purchasable here. I can't quite remember what is purchasable for in, what is it, Savior's Rocks? If it's purchasable at all. But 50 is still pretty expensive, especially as it sells in Fallen London for only... Loading. Also 50. So we would make exactly 0 profit from sailing that to and fro. And sacks of dark draw coffee beans can be had at better prices. But, most importantly, it has romantic literature. And we will need 7 for our contact, the Merchant Venturer in Fallen London. So we'll get that. And I think that's us done in Khan's Heart. We can try to establish a spy. Pretty decent chance at it, surprisingly. Let's try it. If you're caught, it'll mean trouble. If you're successful, you can tap your network later for intelligence. The dark spectacled admiral and the voracious diplomat, among others, will be interested. Sure, let's give it a shot. Excellent, a success on the first try. Your agent sends a message via bat courier. They have found lodgings, contacts, and possibilities. So we've lost 100 echo for our trouble, but we have the diplomatic agent. Let's see if we can find out if they need something. Trade vital intelligence as bait, or just use some cunning, and we actually have a straightforward challenge to do that with. So this will require your personal attention, and we will give it. A craftsman. If you ever want to retire from sailoring, offers one spy, you've found your niche. Perhaps it's flattery, but you've done well enough tonight. So we've gained a little bit more network here, and a move in the great game for our trouble. Can we do more? Cash, 100 echo. Or visions of the surface. Those are kind of difficult to get. Well, not really, but more RNG. So I think we'll go for the cash, especially since it is so cheap. We'll go buy our way in. Spies have an extraordinary appetite for funds, bribes, hush money, peculiar equipment, and accounting. A long and sometimes confusing list of what they need it for. It's plausible at the very least, so we will provide it to them. And apparently that was a Veils challenge, but I didn't even notice that. And a captivating treasure. No, thank you. Those are much too expensive. We will seek another opportunity with our Something Awaits Us, which unfortunately has not changed anything. So we'll hope that the next time we come back here, we will be able to change that up. But let's set off from here up through. We'll just pass by Rack and Nook. Actually, not Rack. We will dock in Rack to get a new target to send there. But then from there, we'll go to the salt lines. We won't be buying any fuel or supplies. We amazingly have enough to last for quite a while, it seems. And then we will head to Venderbite and Fallen London. Let's do it. I hope we haven't bugged out the music too hard. When I travel beyond, I would like to listen to something. Does the live orchestra that has been playing for me, have they gotten tired? Did we accidentally leave them ashore somewhere? We will see, I suppose. But we will travel with our lights off for the time being, as we pass by closer shores. pass through the Abora gate, wait till we lose contact, and flip on our lights. We might as well, I suppose, travel through the Sea of Lilies. Just to clear it out so that bat marker goes away. There we go. And with that, we can click our lights back off. We kind of tread that area here. There should be, I believe it's sharks here, right? Bound sharks. There's wisdom. We could, yeah, we might as well come from the far side just to get the port report from here. We do need to recoup that money. We'll go do that here. I think that's just about the only thing we can do. We actually do know what we want to get here. Grab the port report. We do have something to get here, but it is a costly endeavor. And we could try just rescuing him, but it'd be kind of rough. Searing Enigmas to Enigme can only be traded if we have high enough pages, which we definitely do not. So we'd have to pay it if we wanted that, and that would be a Hearts challenge, which we are not very good with as it stands. So, in fact, we are really terrible with that. Didn't we have that at 50 or so? Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Rather confusing. Well, 21% chance. We've got a 1 in 5 chance of rescuing it here. Maybe we try to do that. I think we will, actually. Let's scale the walls, enter through the outflow pipes, evade the guard, secure your rescuee without raising any alarms. Don't get eaten by giant toads. Disaster. You make it up the prison walls through the pipe and straight into a cistern. The splashing attracts the guards. Their guns wreak havoc before you escape. The pipe grating is repaired the same night. We've lost 2 crew and failed. They are now forewarned. Ooh, and we gained 15 terror. Good God. That's a whole heck of a lot of terror. So now we only have the option to ransom that prisoner that we are intending to rescue. Well, a bit of a shame. Keep traveling up here. We actually do need to worry about going underwater now. Oops. Which we will have to do for Rack. Can we outsail this moray? I don't think we can. God, our ship is slow and heavy. Okay, it seems like he's lost interest in us. But we have to go underwater if we want to get to Rack. We will have to worry about the constant companion, which is uncomfortable, unsettling, and terrifying all at once. So let's hope he's not too close. We'll try to submerge as close to Rack as possible. We are a fair ways out from still. I think right about here. Probably a good way. Wow, it is an extensive process submerging with this ship. I actually don't know if that's any faster or slower than any of the smaller ships. Oh, son of a gun. Okay. I heard those legs for a second. God, this ship is slow. We have made it into Rack. Apparently, they're not too close by. But let's go check in with the king. My ships have come in. Yes, they have. You think you recognized a few of the new wrecks as you entered the shitty. Yes, your ships came in. Promise them riches, promise them knowledge, promise them pretty toys. It's all the same. They come, and our stores replenish. The tether has new hulls to grow on. Take this gift of scrap to the priestess. Look for me in the other times. Well, let's no, we'll not reapproach the window. Or the mirror. I don't know necessarily that we can taste the tether without something awaits us. So let's go wrecking to Venderbite, convenient. And let's taste. Grab a port report. Consider the state to open up the shop and taste the tether. Finally, there's a weed that grows on broken ships. To taste, it is a privilege reserved for successful wreckers. Within the rusting innards of the broken battleship, the wreckers keep the tether. It is guarded by heavy bulwarks and priests capable of launching cannonballs across a room with their bare hands. It is the glory of Rack. Within the sanctum where no water drips are walls, doors, and a pedestal of trinkets. It is watched over by a stony matron. Make an offering of scrap and you may choose which to do. I think we'll go with the cup this time. Empty, silver, modern, engraved with a simple floral scroll. It fits so well in your hand, it's awkwardly light, however. The matron leads you to one of the many doors. You follow her into the darkness beyond. Visions with the cup. The matron lights a gas lamp. The room is modest. With a well-kept bed in the center, rest. Allow your mind to wander. When you are ready, I will give you the tether. You look away, allowing your attention to settle on a grandfather clock. Its hands are still, or a theater poster, waterlogged beyond recognition. Let's look at the grandfather clock first. Tether melts in your mouth. An open bench in Central Park. A miracle. You twirl your walking stick as you sit, glad to rest your old legs. What's the time? You fish your pocket watch from your vest. 1:30. So where's a footstep in the grass behind you? Someone snatches your top hat. You spring to your feet. Your friend stands there wearing your hat. That old bastard, you chuckle, swishing your walking stick at the jocular gentleman. He blocks with his cane. You exchange a few bouts, as if you were still boys. And we have a friendship. Gained 10 fragment and a bit of tether tasting. Well, we've still got one more, so let's go taste some more, see if we can continue that story, shall we? A theater poster. Let's hear that one. Waterlogged beyond recognition. Tether melts in your mouth. Damn carnelian heat. Damn spotlights. Is your grease paint running? Oh, good heavens, says your partner, returning to reveal their absurdly large bustle to the audience. What a handsome gentleman. You turn, bumping your own comically sized bustle into his. A great laugh booms over the chuckles. Why would the governor bring his amused lordship to a body show like the painted youths of Somerset? No matter, he's loving it, and that might be enough to get the act to London. Okay, Memory of Distant Shores and a bit of Fragment. Not too bad. Actors, then. It seems like we are. Uncertain. But I think that is all we need for this location. Don't think we'll pick up anything else. We are doing pretty well on fuel and supplies, both. Let's continue heading out to salt lines and surface as soon as physically possible. I am very concerned that constant companion is going to show up again. So we are at 64 terror. I don't actually know if it increases. Maybe we take on a ship. This pirate frigate here. Ooh. I was hoping to have the upper hand, but it seems he is going to be as ready for me as I was for him. That said, we did a little bit better. Gain some supplies and some fuels. We'll go and scuttle her and grab a crate of fuel. Not too bad. And that will reduce our terror somewhat. Not a ton, but enough to get by with. Let's head over to the Zeal port. Grab a few, a few shipments of Sphinx Stone, I think. How much hold capacity do we have? At 47, so we can grab 3 shipments total of the stuff. I think, yeah, we'll grab the port report, obviously, and we will have a visit with the Unmakers to lose some more terror. But I think we don't have any limits on the amount of Sphinx Stone we can get. 2 and 3. Yeah, and we don't have 20 more spaces, unfortunately. So we have a $600 investment, which we can now make 900 extra on. So let's head over to Venderbite, hoping we don't sink the ship on the way there. And make some motion, shall we? Oops, we'll turn off the lights here. Not particularly planning on stopping by Guider's Morn. I honestly don't have very many crew to lose now. 3 at possible max. So I'll probably just use it for the lights here. And of course our sailors are starting to have nightmares, but we will continue to ignore them to reduce terror aboard the ship. We will simply hug the shore. I don't think we'll try to do anything in Guider's Morn. We'll simply pass it by. As we use its light and its islands for cost-cutting measures. We actually need to keep straight on this path to get to Venderbite. I didn't realize how far up north Venderbite was. I suppose I never noticed when it was, until it was, later in the playthrough, and by then I had had the, Clattery Heart, and probably the Fulgent Impeller, too, which are both very quick items. We'll go pass by Tanachuk and make our way over into the Venderbite port, shall we? Let's get in here. Alrighty, there we go. Into the tomb colonies. We'll lure some ancient captains to rack. Ancient captains stand idly in the dock. Though their bandages have yellowed, their uniforms are well washed. Spin them a story of a last hurrah. You approach 3 of the captains. They smell like moldering cakes. What sights they must have seen, you say, in their years on the Z. Bones pop and crack as they exchange glances. They croak a few words. On beasts they escaped, romances they had, ports where they made a difference. And what you ask of those beasts that escaped, of those romances that they discarded, the ports where they did more harm than good. Of course, they reply, they'd set things right if they had a last adventure. As it happens, you have the charts to a place in need. We have sent more ships to rack. We'll go grab a port while we're here and visit the first curator to go and not turn in my lump of lucentilic. No, thank you, not until I have another option. We've actually got a few colors here. Let's give it our hunter's eyes. I saw it once. I saw it long ago when I first came here below. The driest of chuckles. My left eye is blind. Should I replace it with this one, it will be no blinder. But perhaps I will see within. It raises its hand with the hunter's eye towards its concealed face. No sound is indescribable, but some should be. This is one. Let us not trouble ourselves with its nuances as reminders of marsh and gangrene and chrysalid emergence. Take, it says. Its voice is ragged. It gestures at a side table where the spoiler tusk sits. A pearl tiara is perched jauntily atop the tusk. Apparently, both are yours. We've gained a captivating treasure and a hunting trophy, but lost a hunter's eye for our trouble. And otherwise, let's give it our mirror catch box full of very angry dream snakes. Oh my, my, my. They are cross. A tomb, dry chuckle. They won't stay imprisoned long, but longer than I will. It becomes motionless for so long that you wonder if it is finally truly dead. At last, it expels a rattling breath and points wordlessly at a cloisonne mask on a trophy stand, half visible in the gloom. Elder continent, it wheezes, made within sight of the mountain. Wear it, and think of me. We've gained a captivating treasure for that, but lost our mirror catch box of very angry dream snakes. And we will depart. We still have Violent, Irigo, Gant, and Apossian here. Let's head away. Away from the tomb colony. Back home, I think. I don't think there's anything here particularly that we wish to lose, so we'll carry on. Southwards. Not too much to do. How much of our hold did we just clear out there? I think everything that it gave us, it gave into the curiosities section. So we actually removed some from our hold. It isn't too bad. That Sphinx Stone is really the thing that is going to fill up our hold until we can get rid of it. But we should be able to drop that off in Fallen Legend, along with those romantic pieces of literature, which is not too shabby. That should make us a fair profit off of there. Not nearly enough to recoup the costs of the ship, and honestly, even the costs of everything beyond the ship that we've purchased, the Milestone, or Mile Breaker, and Dark Drop coffee beans that we use to gain access to the Nefri Quarter, but we'll recoup some costs at the very least. We'll skip by Hunter's Keep because I am worried for how much time we have left there. We will make our way slowly, carefully, back to Fallen London. With a fair bit of fuel and supply in tow. Now back in the light, we can turn our own lights off and dock here. Nicely and carefully. Uh-oh. Truth in Dreams. Beneath the cavern that holds the Untersee is prowled by dreams. There is a story that was once the skull of a dead god. That it was once the skull of a dead god. Perhaps that would explain it. Ooh. Oh no. You'd give our something awaits us away. But then we would lose the ability to reduce our terror. I guess it's only by 10 by docking like that. Let's listen to our dreams here. What will you learn? Descent. You walk through the streets of buildings trapped in amber, flooded with treacly light. Rubbery men, their face tentacles twitching complacently, swirl around you in crowds. They give you a wide berth. Something drips from your hands. Not blood, it's pale as milk. A bell tolls, you turn in through an ornate arch, and all the lights go out. But not before you see the spined shape throned in a pool at the chamber's heart. The Lornfluke, maybe? I'm not quite sure. Pale as milk. Maybe this is the healing thing that we're going to give to the cheery man. Not quite sure, but we gained 5 terror and a bit of fragment for that. Probably not the best trade in the world. Ah, a remedy for the cheery man. A pleasure, Captain, a pleasure. Have you acquired a cure for my employer's unjust and mournful condition? Give him the restorative. It glistens in the bottle, the color of snail trails. The bruiser listens to your tale. A journey, a visitation, a cave. How impressively Orphic. I shall take this to my employer forthwith. I will not deceive you. I mean to take the bulk of the credit as this was predominantly an endeavor of my own invention. But I am not ungrateful. Here is a sum of monies. Here are the necessaries to prepare your next excursion. Here are some peculiar fruit. What I do not otherwise know what to do with. 2 days later, the rumors race around London. The cheery man is dead. Choked on his dinner, they say. It's a surprise then when you receive an invitation to drink with the cheery man at the Medusa's head. What? Wow. Okay, that is super interesting. Gained 400 echo. Gained 2 supplies, 2 fuel, some solace fruit. And maybe have killed the cheery man? I don't know. We've gained nightmares, but we have also reset our fear. I guess it didn't use up our something awaits us, confusingly. How strange. Let's check out first London. We'll deliver all that Sphinx stone. Oh, I see. Perhaps not. A smiling woman in an elegant jonquil gown places a gloved hand on your arm. Are you waiting for the ministry men? They aren't coming, but I have a proposition for you. Bright gown, bright hair. Her skin glows with health. Her smile is wise and merciless. The bright-eyed sequencer. That stone's full of old memories. The bazaar has been drinking them. She nods at the spires that loom over London, the dark limbs that sprawl through the streets. I have a better destination. Help us bring light here below, and we will reward you. Reward you richly. Well, that is the Dawn Machine. But I think not. I do not wish to side with you, especially as I know... Actually, I know none of your secrets. We did support them, but we didn't really learn what they did. They ingratiated themselves as a religion, but we didn't really know that. We didn't really know what happened there. I think we shall refuse. We've never refused before, since we were worried about the consequences, but I think it's the first time. Let's refuse. Those bright, bright eyes. The unmistakable mark of the Dawn Machine. None understand the Dawn Machine, but all fear it. Who knows what its motives are, or hers? A bright and brittle smile. Not an admirer of progress, I see. Well then, keep your stone, keep your memories. None so blind as those who would not rise. Well, let's listen to the dusty gentleman, shall we? Captain, wait. She gave you an errand, didn't she? She serves a greater power, a bright one, but not a friendly one. I have a counter-proposal. Will you listen? Tired eyes, sallow skin, he stoops like a clerk and coughs like a miner. But that frock coat is of the finest fabric in the newest cut. My name is Penstock, he says. The bazaar's been feasting on old memories from the Salt Lions. It only makes her more melancholy, and that's worse for all of us, but especially those who love her. So we found another use for Sphinx Stone. We can set something right. Well, I suppose we can accept his commission, take it far away, we'll tell you where. You will be paid. Sure, let's hear about that. I'm grateful. Here. He presses a crumpled note into your hand. This is where you should take it. You'll learn something, I think. We had to seek the Master's help for this. We will all be enmeshed in their plans, but it's worth it. I swear it's worth it. He grips your arm and is gone. You unfold the note. We must deliver it to Flit in London where the wind walks. And I think... Yeah, I took this option the first time. We have to have 75 veils in order to deliver this to the Flit. We have 62 with officers maxed out. I think we have first officer that will give us some more veils. That is 65. The genial magician for a chief engineer. No, 65. So we would have to use 10 secrets to increase ours to be able to drop that off. That said, we have 14, so we could do it. We'd be left with 4, unfortunately. But if we do not, we are stuck with 60 cargo spaces taken up. that would really do that. So I think we will, in fact, do it. Let's talk to our chief engineer here. Increase our veils by 10. A lot of expenditure. A whole lot of expenditure this stream. My goodness, we've spent 10,000 echo, effectively. A whole bunch of secrets and a lot of something else. But we should, at the very least, be able to deliver the Sphinx Stone now to the boy Slivy. Slivy is the fey and stuttering shaman boy who speaks to the wind. Slivy lives in the Flit, the rooftop kingdoms of fallen London, where urchins and anarchists lair. It's not far, but it is high. It won't be easy to get the Sphinx Stone up there. Step by step, you still have contacts in the urchin gangs. You still have favors owed. Right, because we're urchins. Right, I totally forgot about that. We departed our father's embrace and lived as an urchin in London because we were sick of being heir to a king, I suppose. Your skills and your allegiances and your knowledge of the Flitways is enough to get the stone up, though your sailors are green with terror by the end of it. I want to go back to Z, Captain, one moans. The urchin Slivy has arranged cradles for the rocks. We are going to drop them on people Storm doesn't like, he tells you. Squash them flat. It's all right if a god tells you to do it. And he's stuttering a little bit, too. Is he joking? It's difficult to tell with Slivy. He leans forward and whispers the directions to the backmost stairs, the secret Flit route you've never traveled. And we've gained 3,000 echo. Okay, that actually helped out considerably. With 60, we spent 600. We gained 3,000. We have a net profit of 2,400 echo. That's not half bad. My goodness. Okay, I'm actually very happy about that. We gave all of our Sphinx Stone away. We gained some veils, even more. Gained a secret, not quite enough to make it back, but we're on the way there and delivered the very last load. Apparently we have access to another Flitway, interestingly. Well, let's check our hold. Right, we still need to talk to the merchant venturer because we have his lovely products for him. Something romantic and smuggled. They publish this stuff in the Khanate to the east. It may be difficult, they don't trade readily, and the bazaar loves taxes, love story. I'll pay 1,000 echoes for the 7. Here you go, sir. Beyond the gate there will be many appetites. I cannot be sure how much use these will be, but I can hope. Now, something else. We've cleaned the merchant venturer for his option. And now he has new quests for us, which are either Muter Salt, which we get from Wither. And we need, what, 7 of those? Yeah. Or 7 Devil Bone Dice. Not too difficult to get. Devil Bone Dice will probably be better, but it is a lesser cost. These we can actually buy, and these would just be with Z stories or something. I'm not quite sure, which we don't actually have a ton of, and which we were trying to save up, and we've kind of fallen off of that wagon. Now that that is done, our hold is pleasantly cleared. Let's go talk to the potentially dead cheery man. I'm really unsure about that and what exactly happened with him, but let's get drinks with the cheery man who is possibly has died, but apparently has not. Tonight you will drink with the Medusa's heads best stock with the proprietor himself, the cheery man. It's not the cheery man you were expecting. He's young and smiling. You were expecting my father, I bet. Well, it's true, he's dead, but he left it all to me. Drink? Well, suppose we shall. Long live the king. The cheery man had a son. Illegitimate, he says, pouring you a gin. Came as a surprise to me, too. A few months ago, he sought me out, started teaching me. Said he wouldn't be around forever. He said the crown was heavy and the throne hurt his arse. Anyway, turns out I have a natural inclination to the family business. And I'm not sure what got me here, but I think you had a part in it. He strides around the bar and hands you your gin. Here's to new beginnings. The new cheery man gives you a smile of crooked teeth and downs his drink. Well, let's discuss legitimate business, shall we? Who are his partners and rivals? Queens, pawns, bishops. Or bishop says? I don't know why there are two S's there. Maybe a typo. The widow, the gracious widow. Don't make me laugh. She's gracious as a shark. Reckons she used to be a princess. She thinks she's a big noise in spite. The Topsy King, he runs the flit, if you can call it running. Mad as paint. Fiducci, who's supposed to be a tomb colonist, but I don't know, runs the ring fights. December from the Calendar Council, yeah, he's a wrongin'. And me. He smiles, all teeth. You don't want to get on the wrong side of me. Kinda cocky for a newly anointed head. But I think, of course, that this is the exact same conversation loop as with the actual cheery man. It was actually a different quest this time, trying to cure him instead of trying to recover his daughter, but still interesting. And let's ask his advice on smuggling, shall we? It would be a crime not to pick his brain, for educational purposes, of course. A gold tooth winks as he smiles. I found a way to bring in sunlight. The tricks in the boxes paid off Mr. Fires, but it's a long way down, and sunlight doesn't last, so I thought, why not cut it with moonlight? Hard to tell the difference down there. Has some funny effects, of course, but I'm looking into that. Could be useful in his own right. Interesting. I wonder if we can take any benefit of that. I kind of doubt it. I kind of think that is just flavor text. Let's double check that we didn't miss anything here. Yeah, this is the same one. So we will call it a night. It's getting early, late, whatever. You'll be able to return. That is okay. He bids you good night and gives you a gift with his compliments. 3 casks of mushroom wine for a total of 4. Not too bad. We've lost 10 terror for our trouble. Very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Let's go and talk to the dark spectacled admiral, shall we? That our port reports. Venderbite is Venderbite. Humane Canal is the Humane Canal. Khan's heart been to the salt steppes, eh? Yes, this kind of material is always of interest. How a nation could be so barbarian and so decadent all at once is beyond me. But they are terribly dangerous. It'd be cool if you could, like 2 mirror catch boxes, because half of each is moonlight. That would be fantastic. I would love to see that baked into the story, but well, there's enough in here already. I think that is probably something for a bigger team to work on. Maybe Sunless Skies has that sort of interaction there. Would be nice, but I'm not sure. But that is Khan's Heart report. The first report for that given to us. We gained 75 echo for it. Lovely. The Utter Shroom is still the Utter Shroom. The Iron Republic has set somebody on fire. Unfortunate. Well, we gained a bit of terror and no money, but we have gained a little bit of fuel at the very least. And I still have more to submit. Don't worry. Fathom King's Hold still exists. Khan's Shadow is lovely and fun. We've lost 5 terror for that, so a net loss of 2 terror. Wisdom is still Wisdom. Adam's Way, Salt Lions, and Quaker's Haven, along with Rack. And that'll be them done and dealt with. We should probably talk to, not the Alarming Scholar, though, do we have any? No, I don't think we do. Oh, we do actually have Intriguing Snippets. Only 1, though, and I don't know if we'll use that for anything. Maybe an extraordinary implication, but again, as we have only 1, we'll probably stick on that. I do want to talk to here, the Voracious Diplomat, to go and grab another diplomatic agent for a favor, shall we? And I don't think we'll describe a move in the great game. We'll just hang on to that, I very much think. We'll go and get some news from the morning papers. Lovely. That'll lose us a little bit of terror. We need to lose a little bit more terror, so we will rest, especially as we now have nightmares. 2 of them to go and deal with. which will cost us 100 echo. And I don't think we have anything new to make. 2 captivating treasures to hold on to, but they are in the curiosities section here. So don't have to worry too much about them taking up space. And I think with that, I will end the stream. We are about half an hour over. We have done a lot today. Spent 1,000 echo, but have 10,000 echo, in fact, but have almost made it back up to the 10,000 echo limit. We've traded up our ship to the brand new Caligo class merchant cruiser, which we have called Leviathan. We have traveled far and wide. Pigmote Isle, we have learned, has succeeded. We discovered where Igel was, made the trading trip between Adam's Way and Khan's Heart to go and open up the Nefrit quarter for them, and interacted for the first time with the King of Rak, who we are slowly building up, which we are slowly building up into a prospering city. Can't wait till we get to that. We have also gone a little further in the Tireless Mechanics quest, going to Polythreme, which we found, and delivering some Claymen and a mirror catch box to Hunter's Keep, which is probably on the cusp of collapsing. I very much hope that I can take care of it. I guess with the buffed veils, I might be able to, hopefully. And captured his dream snakes, which we turned into Venderbite along with the Hunter's Eye to gain 2 of the colors, clear 2 of those out. We have Blue Scintilic, but I don't really want to trade that one in yet. And we've gotten a few more quests, one of which we have cleared, that being the Cheery Mans, who actually killed him, but apparently he had a son and heir to take his place, which isn't half bad. And we finally did the last of the Sphinx Stone trades, which we were declined for the Grand Geode, but which we have accepted with somebody in Flit, and made quite a bit of echo off of it for profit. We still have to talk to Mr. Sachs, and I think we're probably just about ready to do that. Well, maybe not quite. We do want another strange catch, preferably, before we can get to that point. Or rather, a hunting trophy. But I think we actually have both of those. So we may go do that next time. As for when next time will come, I have no idea. Might be tomorrow, might be next week. But I will endeavor to have a notification, so feel free to follow me if you are interested to see where this goes. We'll see if we can get a normal stream schedule back. Not quite sure about that yet. We're still kind of operating in the blind. But I hope to see you next time, whenever that time may be. And if not, I hope you too manage to spend a whole lot on something you like. Something that will make you boatloads of cash so that you can recoup the cost, and that will improve you as an individual, of course. For the meantime, I'm going to be off. Cheers, everybody.